Welcome, everyone, once again to another Sonic Saturday. I'm joined by my amazing co-host, the one, the only, Sonic Boy. How's it going, man?
Going good. How about you?
Going pretty well. So this week is literally the 35th anniversary of Sonic's birthday. What do you think so far? I know they did a live stream. I didn't manage to really catch all of it. I popped in really quick and saw I think like mascots, like a Sonic mascot walking around. But I think you live streamed some of it, right? So you got to see a little bit more than I did, I'm guessing. How was that?
Mid. From what I saw, everyone in the stream was having fun, and it was for a good cause. Very obviously,
Yes.
I'm so happy they did that. But at the end of the day, it was stuff we pretty much knew about to begin with. So there's nothing really too interesting there.
Yeah, it's definitely for a good cause. So that's awesome. I think they raised like over $50,000 for it was St. Jude's, correct?
Yes.
So super awesome. The community really pulled together for that, which is just like really cool to see for a cause like that. Welcome everyone in chat, guys. It's good to see you. Sonic producer says he saw your thoughts on GTA 6. Did you? I saw you were coming out with the video, right? But I didn't know if it was out yet already.
Yeah,
Or
the
did you
video
post
dropped
somewhere
out.
else? It dropped already.
Yeah, the comment he made a comment there that was like, you don't think it's worth it for $80? First of all, I don't think any game is worth $80. Let's be frank here. I think all games should be $60. But yeah, no, I just don't fall for the hype for GTA 6. Like I'm excited, of course, but like it's nothing too big for me. I don't think I'm gonna buy it immediately for $80. I'll wait for a discount and a disc.
Yeah, I'm not really like the biggest GTA fan. I really liked watching YouTubers and Let's Players or whatever play it when it came out, GTA 5, that is. I played a little bit of GTA 4 like way back in the day, never got super into it. I played GTA 5 like really late into its lifespan and I barely touched it, but I mean, it's a cool franchise, just not my cup of tea. And the price, I mean, that's just insane. Like base game $80. Like I get it, but I won't be grabbing it right away. Like I said, if I ever grab it, I think my girlfriend might grab it because she's kind of more of like a Rockstar fan. She really loves Red Dead, so uh, she might get GTA. Who knows? Ethan over here says I'm excited for the Wolverine game. That looked pretty sick. I played the Wolverine game from like way back in the day on 360. It was for the Origins movie. That game was so rad. Like movie games usually suck. That game is so awesome. I don't understand how it's so good, especially for such a bad Wolverine movie. But we're not here to talk Wolverine. We're here to talk Sonic. So we finally saw the Frontiers Definitive Edition, Sonic Boy. Did you see anything about it? Because
I did.
I have some thoughts. This is a screen grab of the Definitive Edition. It looks like crap. Like this is terrible. All right, Sonic Boy wants to say something, so I'll let him talk, but I think this looks really bad.
Before you say anything else, I do want to let you and the viewers know, just in case you didn't, I'm not quite sure. This is the performance mode for the Switch 2 version. This isn't like what it looks like all the time. So
Yeah.
just
Okay.
want to make that clear.
Even so, I think it looks terrible. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot from a Switch. I'm not even getting it. I just think it looks really bad. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't expecting greatness from the Switch 2, though. So, that's really all I had to say on it. I think it is confirmed, right? It's only for the Switch 2. It's not coming to anything else, which is weird because like we saw price drops on Steam, then we saw price drops on PlayStation and Xbox. So it seemed like it might roll out to those, but no, it just seems like hey, here's everything that was like included in future updates all in one package ready to go. So hopefully people like it that grab it, and maybe people that didn't pick up the game initially on Switch will get it for their Switch 2 or whatever. But yeah, it just kind of shadow dropped too, and I guess after seeing it, I'm not really surprised why. It's not really anything special. So, also, I wanted to say, Sonic Boy, thank you for your cameo in my video. It was a surprise cameo to you, I'm guessing.
Yes, I was so excited when I saw myself on the screen. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" He actually included me. I thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't know, that clip was like so fun, and I was like, man, that would be like kind of cool to make it like a dramatic intro like that. So thank you, and it was also a great way to kind of plug our live streams. So I really like that. We also got this guy joining Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and I haven't hopped on since he was added, but I will probably be playing soon. I actually went back to Crossworlds recently, and I played a little bit for the first time in like months. I finished all the speed challenges or whatever to get the achievements. And then I've been grinding the race park or whatever it's called to get like the tickets. Cause dude, I have like 4,000 or no, I think I just hit 5,000. I have like 5,000 tickets and I need like 8,000 more to like finish the game. And it's such a slog. I'm dreading every moment of it, but maybe playing as classic Sonic will alleviate some of that pain. What do you think about them adding classic Sonic? I think we even kind of like briefly brushed on this last week, and we're like, why isn't he there yet? That would be a cool addition.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. It's great. I think this is one of those picks that everyone was expecting, considering it's Sonic's the 35th anniversary. So it's an obvious one. But I'm happy. I'm excited. And just like you, I haven't played the game in a few months, so I was really surprised when all of those new free characters popped up on my screen at the beginning there. I apparently haven't played since Mega Man came, so that was a fun surprise.
Yeah, who else did they add? They added like, or they're going to add a Crazy Taxi character, correct? And then I don't even remember the last one, if I'm being honest. Was it like I or something, or is he already in the game?
I's already in the game. It was Samba de Amigo.
Samba de Amigo. Okay, another monkey. So pretty similar. I also feel a little vindicated because they came out and said once again, like this is up to date, that Sonic Racing Crossworld is selling below Sega's expectations. A lot of people did not like the video that I made coming out and saying, that game's not really performing up to par. And they're like, that's based on old news. And then, man, some comment was like, if it wasn't doing well, they said they weren't going to release a season 2, but they have a season 2. And then they came out and still said it wasn't selling well. So, I think it's more so in the middle where it's like selling decently, but still not meeting their expectations, but not selling great. So I do think there's a little bit of on like both sides. Like I know fans are always going to want Sonic games to do like great and like believe that they're always doing great. But this game, I think, is just kind of like a middle of the road game that's selling decently. I don't know what the expectations that Sega had were, because I think this game, I don't know if the sales numbers are exactly out, but I think it's like around 3 million or like 2 million or something like that. So, I mean, that's pretty good. They must have had like crazy high expectations, maybe because they have all these different collaborations with like TMNT, Avatar, and stuff like that. SpongeBob, maybe they thought it was really going to bolster their numbers in like some crazy, unbelievable way, but I don't think that was ever really in the cards. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, this is to be expected too. This is the first $70 Sonic game ever, pretty much. So I think that's also a big thing that people always get so defensive when you bring up this argument. Most people do not think $70 is a good price for a racing game. this we saw this with Mario Kart. People were going to buy it anyway because it's Mario Kart. But once you get to a more niche franchise like Sonic the Hedgehog, that's where people start to be like, no, not as much. Although, of course, like we said, it's still doing well. Just because it performs below expectations doesn't mean it's not still selling fairly well. And that's why we got the year 2 of DLC. I think that's exactly why. Although it might be a bit more limited this time around from the Godzilla track that we've seen. But I think they were really riding on the fact that other franchises were going to be in this game, and there's going to be so many other fan bases who want to try it out. Even though it's not a TMNT racer, it's not a Minecraft racer, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog racer with like two to four of these characters that you may also like as well. I think it's a really bold strategy to do a $90 game just for maybe one or two characters to be of someone's interest.
Yeah, the price point, like you said, I think that was a huge mistake on their part. I think I wound up spending close to $90 getting the DLC season pass thing, and I regretted that almost instantly. uh, I think it's on sale now or was recently for the anniversary, which may have dropped it to like 15 or $20, which is a pretty good price. So, it's a decent game as much as I don't really enjoy it all the time. So, that price, it's definitely worth a buy in my opinion. We also so I think a few weeks ago I said we're about to have like a slew of like Sonic comics coming out almost constantly. And next week kind of begins that because I think we have the 35th anniversary classic comic. No, we have DC Metal Legion 3 coming out. Then after that, we have the 35th anniversary comic coming out. Then after that, we have Godzilla 1 coming out. And then there's a little week break. And then we're right back to like mainline IDW. So it's about to be crazy for like Sonic comic fans. I certainly won't be getting any sleep in the coming weeks. But we got some preview pages, and this asteroid in the little explanation, I guess, crashes down, and there's like plant life spewing like all out of it. It's kind of weird, but I think the preview also stated that like Eggman is going to acquire this, and it like this thing like generates life, so all this plant stuff. I remember one of my initial like thoughts was, is Eggman going to use this to somehow maybe bring Metal Sonic to life and make him like an actual Sonic, and like they're gonna do like a little battle or something? But maybe he's gonna use it in a different way because this is very like plant-based kind of stuff coming from this asteroid. It's really weird. I have no clue what's going on, but I always love these anniversary comics that are like the classic stories. I think they're really fun. What are your thoughts on this, Sonic Boy? And have you read any of the classic stories from IDW?
Yeah, the classic spin-offs that they do are actually some of my favorite books that they've done, just where the characters just little one-off adventure, like what they did with the 30th anniversary comic, which I think I have this. Yeah, I have it right here. And one of my favorite books from the Sonic series so far. And if they could do, like, they should just make a spin-off of these classic characters, because they're little things where it's not necessarily, oh my goodness, I can't talk. Not necessarily needing to have a plot, and just do a like overarching plot and just do like little things here and there, kind of like a Sonic universe type thing. Would be really cool to see with the classic characters, because we all know full well that they don't get as much screen time as they need, and especially with the fact that they can actually talk here, there's much more room for story potential. So I always love it when they do this. It's really where this is the only point where they talk outside of the games.
Yeah, it is weird that it's the only time we see them talk. I really like it. Also, what is up, Hero Entertainment over on Kick? We also have Justin Logan here, guys. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I love these stories. Like you said, they really just need to like branch off and like have a team like constantly work on these, because I don't know, they're just like so wholesome and fun. I also think they're a great way to include characters that we don't see all the time, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I love characters like Mighty, Ray, Trip, even. So these characters that we don't get to see in the modern era, it's nice to actually get to see them in these stories. And yeah, I want more of it. Any thoughts on this crazy comet and like there's like it almost looks like French fries inside of it or something
Yeah.
weird, like stars and stuff. Uh, really weird, but I'm kind of excited. Do you have any ideas as to what this could be? Or you're
You
like,
know,
nah, I had no clue.
I mean, I'm thinking Little Planet because
Oh,
that's a little spherical thing that has life on it that just kind of came from nowhere. Maybe it's a remnant of that from maybe Eggman's adventure with Sonic CD. So maybe that's something there because I don't think we have any clue about how any life got on Little Planet and how it's able to sustain itself. So maybe this rock is the answer. Who knows? Maybe they'll have to say Little Planet. That could be cool. But that's my main theory. It could just be a wholly new original thing.
that's actually a really cool theory off the top of your head. I put you on the spot there. I like that idea. So we also got preview pages for Sonic XDC 3, and we have some pretty cool team ups going on here. We have Batgirl with Tangle, and I saw people on Twitter saying that this is a team up because the voice actress for Tangle also was Batgirl in something. I did not know that. That's actually kind of cool. We also have the Babylon Rogues with Kite Man, which is kind of silly. I don't know why they're teaming up necessarily. And then we have someone that I believe is the Shade. I only know him because of Young Justice and the like DC animated universe. You can kind of see him in the corner, like generating like a shadow monster. And then you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong, Sonic Boy, but is that Zor? I always get the other one's names like mixed up.
I'm thinking Xena, Zaz, Zabok, Master Z. Yeah, that's Zor.
Zor. Okay, yeah. So those two like kind of emo characters hanging out, so I can see the correlation there. I guess it's cool. I like these pages. They always put these ones at the start where it shows like some interesting team ups, but they're also like they're a lot of like I don't know. It just teases me because I'm like I want to see the adventures that these characters are going on, but we're not going to. It's at least cool to have like the acknowledgement of like IDW characters such as Tangle, teaming up with these DC characters. So that's great. I think that these are always fun, but man, it's like stop teasing me every issue with these like cool pairings that we don't get to see more of. Vice Hella says Zor is adored. And then I want to talk about this briefly. We'll talk about it more in the coming weeks when the comic actually releases, but we see the villains kind of celebrating that they trapped the heroes in null space and their plans going off without a hitch. But it got me thinking, all right, which of these two is going to be the first to like stab the other in the back? We know it's coming. We know the heroes are waiting for this moment to like make their move. Uh, who do you think will be the first one? Do you think it's going to be Eggman or do you think it's going to be Lex?
That's a tough question. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I'm almost willing to bet though that it's going to be Lex. And then I think that Eggman is going to be like, I saw this coming a mile away and like pull his move and maybe possibly beat him. We'll see though. Tragedy also says Lex would do it first. That's what I'm thinking. And I think that Lex is going to end up losing to Eggman. Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly how I think it's
That's
going
what
to
we'll
play
go with.
out.
Yeah.
But who knows? It could be the other way around. These two are so similar, almost cartoonishly so. Anything can happen. I'm excited to read it. I've really been enjoying this run so far. It's not perfect, but it's just who would have expected like this crossover? It's nice that we're even getting something as cool as this. These two IPs coming together for a fun story. Little does Lex know Eggman can throw hands. He can. He slammed the crap out of Starline before. So there's not a whole lot of news to talk about this week. And I was kind of like scrambling last night. I'm like, man, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, I kind of want to talk about classic Sonic just for his anniversary. and this could be end up being like a little bit of a shorter episode, but I wanted to know who you thought was the strongest classic character, because I have a pick in mind that I think is kind of underrated. But, a lot of people would say, Sonic, he's the main character. He's the strongest, of course. Maybe some would say, well, Knuckles clearly is, he's the muscles of the team. Maybe possibly someone like Mecha Knuckles or Mecha Sonic or Metal Sonic, rather. Who do you think is the strongest? Even Amy could be thrown into the mix. She's really powerful in the classic games. So,
If I was to throw out a joke pick, I'd say one of them big animals from Sonic Superstars. But
the fat flicky.
Yeah, like the fat flicky or the big pokey. Like, man, I still can't believe they did that with that game. But Mighty is kind of like a mix of Sonic and Knuckles, where you got like the strength and a little bit of the speed there too. So I'm gonna go with Mighty.
Mighty's a great pick. I would say he's like top 3 strongest. He might be number 1 or 2. My pick is wrong one. Where is he? Here we go. Bark the polar bear. I think Bark is like extremely underrated. Hold on. What am I doing? There we go. Oh, there we go. All right. Bark the polar bear is like, dude, he's just chill. He's just a chill guy that is incredibly strong. He's a polar bear, so of course he's going to be powerful. But, I was rereading this classic comic last night to kind of like get excited for the new classic comic that's coming out. And just the ease that he's taking on Knuckles here, like catching his punches, is crazy. And he's not even really trying. And you can see Knuckles kind of like struggling. He's like, come on, Bark, I know you can fight, because Bark's like holding back a little bit, being kind of chill. And he doesn't get serious until Knuckles kicks him in the face. So I was like, man, Bark is like crazy strong, and people kind of sleep on him because, he's stuck in the classic universe. But my pick would definitely be Bark the polar bear for the strongest classic character. I think that you could argue though that Knuckles, like you said, Mighty, or maybe even Bark, I think those are like the 3 that come to mind when I think of like the strongest characters. I think you could argue either one of them could be the strongest. But man, I'm like out of topics honestly today. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, Sonic Boy, or we could have the record for the shortest episode ever, which, necessarily wouldn't be a bad thing, but I just feel like not a lot happened on the anniversary of Sonic's birthday. Kind of a slow news week.
We could talk about that in and of itself, about how Sega is probably fumbling the 35th anniversary by not having barely any big news to talk about. I think, I'm looking at the screen right now. I just noticed that you got that black bar. It's gone.
It's there. It's gone. Okay.
So I was like, oh my goodness, he finally fixed it.
Yeah. All I had to do was unplug my webcam and then plug it back in. The first thing they always ask you, have you unplugged and plugged it back in? Yeah, I should have done it, but I was worried that like something bad was gonna happen if I unplugged it and then like my webcam wouldn't come back, So, luckily, yeah, I fixed it right away. But I wish I had done it a little bit sooner. Technology always goes wrong, at the worst times. But
yeah, we've certainly seen our instances of that on these streams.
Dude, it's a staple of our streams, man. Like, we have to have something go wrong, or else it's not a Sonic Saturday. So
true. We haven't had anything go wrong yet, but I probably just jinxed it. So
yeah,
let's hope.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely have been fumbling this year, like you've said. A point that we've reiterated many times is that the comics are kind of carrying this year. And, I don't think we need yearly game releases, but we kind of touched on this last week, where it's like, give us like a little trailer or something to kind of like get us excited. And with the lack of a trailer is making me wonder, like, are we going to receive a game in 2027, or could we be waiting until 2028 for the next Sonic game? Or is it going to be very late into the year, like November, December, that will get this new Sonic game? What are your thoughts?
I think uh, Azuka said this when during the marketing cycle of Sonic Frontiers, they knew they revealed it way too early. I think it was actually perfect because they didn't technically reveal anything. They just gave us a CGI trailer, said new game's coming, just next year. Look out for it. I think that's what they should do if 2027 is the mark. But if they are literally just so genuinely afraid of having that Frontiers type marketing again, where there's so long in between stuff that's revealed, I think they will just be waiting until the Game Awards or maybe even the Summer Games Fest or an early state of play to show off the next mainline Sonic game, because we all were like really upset when they spaced out reveals from May of 2021 to the Game Awards and then to May of 2022 with the IGN firsts. And even then, those are like some of the worst reveals Sonic's ever had. Like just a CGI trailer with some background footage, and then really horrible gameplay. Looking back on it, I went easy on that gameplay back when it was first revealed. But now having the game played it for over 200 hours, yeah, that was some bad gameplay. And I just think they want to avoid that. And we've seen this too with like Sonic Superstars. It was revealed like about 4 months before it dropped, and then Shadow Generations about 8 or so months, and then Crossworlds was about, it was longer, it was 9, but it was still a good marketing cycle because you had stuff sprinkled throughout as opposed to these long breaks. I think that's what they're trying to avoid if we are getting a 2027 release. If it is 2028, I am very scared because that means we might not even have anything next year too, although they probably do want something to go along with the movie, like how they did with Frontiers in 2022, Shadow Generations in 2024. Hopefully that's not the case. I do want the next mainline Sonic game next year. I think it needs to come out. But even if it doesn't even come out in 2027, we still have that Sonic movie universe event film for that to be paired alongside with. So if they do just really want to take their time, I can see that. But at least give us something for 2027. Like a teaser. I would take a teaser for us to leave the whole year by, a couple comics in the movie. That's pretty much it. I would take anything.
Yeah. Do you think it's kind of weird that they haven't even mentioned it? It's like the elephant in the room, and they're just like, we're not even gonna like talk that we're working. Like, we have no indication that they're even like really working on this game. I think they said way back when Frontiers ended that like they started development on their next game. I think that's like, at least to my knowledge, I could be missing some news. That's like the last time I ever heard them mention anything about like actually working on it, which is like just really weird. I want like some progress report or something, not like I'm the head of Sega. Like, give me the progress report. How are things moving? But it just feels like odd that we're seeing Izuka and stuff at like Game Awards and stuff like that, and he's like hasn't mentioned his newest game that like, oh, we're working on it. Like, just say you're working on it or something, like, oh, it's coming, it's in the pipeline or something. It's kind of weird. uh I really hope we're not waiting till 2028 for it. I think that's way too long for a Sonic game to be like cooking, unless it like I said, it would have to blow the pants off me if it's really like going to take that long. Um, which my expectations I think are kind of like mid for this game. I'm expecting like Frontier style gameplay, but like improved in possibly like the graphics and performance department. Hopefully a little bit more focused narratively and stuff. But like I'm not expecting anything too crazy. So we'll see what they do. But you know, you've got to get your own fans excited. And when your fans are complaining on the 35th anniversary, now Sonic fans are going to complain, come sun or rain or snow, whatever, we're going to complain every day of the week. But it's been truly a slog this year to get through. And people were saying it early on, like first like 2-3 months, and I'm like, let's just be a little bit patient. The year just began. We're like almost halfway through the year now, and we've gotten comics, some toys, an announcement for Pico Park, which I don't think people care about. Some Crossroads stuff. I mean, that's cool for people that like Crossroads. That game is at least like fostering a community of Sonic fans that like enjoy that game. So that's nice that they're getting content for it. But it's really been very lackluster, tragically so. I don't know. Like I I understand the problems that people had, like you said, where it's like the marketing cycle for Frontiers was like too spaced out. They revealed that first CGI trailer too soon. But I liked having that there because so many creators made videos on it, like before I was making Sonic stuff myself, and it was kind of just fun to watch those videos and see their speculation and see them like I think they would read reports on what was it like 4chan and like kind of see like all right what leaks line up with like what's going on here, and it built excitement even if some of the leaks weren't true and some of the theories and whatnot were off, but like everyone wanted to know what that mysterious symbol was. I still don't even know what it is. The frontier symbol. I can't remember if they even revealed it, but it at least got people talking about Sonic, excited for what was to come. But I think I would still rather have a CGI trailer or maybe even just a little snippet of gameplay or something to get me really looking forward to the next thing.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. That is certainly something that I think everyone would be at least happy with. Maybe some people wouldn't be satisfied, but we still have something. And like you were saying earlier, the patience thing totally made sense about 2 to 3 months into the year. Now that we are literally past the date of the 35th anniversary, now it's a cope. It is like, because now we have Pico Park, now we have Crossroads. Like, we have our stuff for this year, as far as we're aware, at least. So now patience, it's a cope, because now we know nothing substantial is coming. Like, even a spinoff, like do a port of, I don't know, Sonic Heroes. Like, you don't even have to like remake it. Do like just put it on modern consoles or like any other Sonic game that needs that treatment. Just put it on there for the 35th anniversary, sell it for about $40, and I think people would be happy. The fact that we're getting Pico Park makes me like just so worried about what Sega has in store for next year too. Like, it's not just this year, because I'd be totally fine with Pico Park if it was like we didn't know there was another Sonic game coming. Like, the fact that we just have Pico Park and Crossroads to go off of right now just it sucks. And like you said, even a CGI trailer would be so much better, because like you were saying, we had those 4chan leaks, we had the CGI trailer, the community was moving back then. Like, we gotta accept that. Like, we were definitely in a better spot. Like, I shouldn't say conspiracy wise, but like discussion around the community was so much better, because there were some conspiracies back then about what the next content would be. But it was so exciting to be a Sonic fan at that time. We just need something like that now, even if we're not getting anything this year or even the next year, to just hold us over so we have something to talk about at least. Pico Park and Crossroads are cool to some extent. That's not something to talk about. The comics are something to talk about for like a week, and then they're pretty much gone, because you're either on to the next thing in the franchise, or they're just kind of meh, and then you move on, right?
And
we need that.
Not to cut you off, but I love the comics. Like, that's what a big part of my channel is. But I do realize too, the Sonic comics are a very niche like portion of the Sonic fan base. Like, very niche. Like, most people are fans from like the shows or the games or the movies. The comics are such a niche subset. So you need something to like really feed people that are more into the games and stuff. So sorry to cut you off, but that I just wanted to toss that in there, because it's like, even as like a huge fan of the comics, it's like you got to do something else for the fan base, because not everyone cares about the comics.
That's true. Then that's part of the problem too, is that they're kind of splitting up the fan base into their groups again, like it was back in like 2017, 2019, 2018. Those times, because you had like the Sonic Racing fans going to Team Sonic Racing, you had the comic people going to the IDW Comics, with the movie people are excited that there's a movie, but they don't have anything at that point yet. In the games, you had Sonic Forces as the very last game, so they were kind of disappointed. Now we're kind of shifting back into that point, where you have Crossroads, the racing fans are satisfied again. You got the comic fans, because they're going to be eating really well for the next month or two. And then the gaming fans were like, yeah, I could go to Crossroads, I could go to Pico Park, but that doesn't look really interesting. So they're just sitting there. And then the movie fans, they're getting the movie in about what is it? Almost a year out at this point, so they're going to be satisfied eventually. But as game fans have nothing left to chew on, or at least nothing interesting left to chew on that we haven't seen before already. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah. Um, also thinking about it, since you and I like joined YouTube and like became like Sonic YouTubers, we have not had a mainline modern Sonic game. Like it's crazy to think about. I haven't talked about because Sonic Frontiers came out, I think before or maybe it was around the same time, but like there hasn't been anything since. It's been 4 years. It's crazy. Like I'm like really wanting to talk about the Sonic game, but uh usually once I'm done with one, I kind of move on. Frontiers I think has a problem where it's not very easy to go back to and get into because there's no like stage select or anything like that. So I wonder if that's a problem that they could address maybe in the new game with how they set up. I think Shadow Generations did it perfectly where it's still almost open world, but it has a very like easy level select to it, which was nice. But yeah, it's crazy. I want to talk about a Sonic game. I want to talk about a new Sonic game, and there's just nothing. And uh, with there not being a Sonic game for everyone to talk about, like you said, we're all kind of like branching off into our own paths where it's like movie fans are just kind of looking forward to the movie right now. Uh, Comic fans, like you said, are eating good right now, but we'll see how long that lasts. And then game fans are kind of just like twiddling their thumbs and like, I guess we have Sonic Racing Crossworld and possibly Pico Park, which Tragedy says here that Pico Park is this Pico Park is basically just a mod because Pico Park has already been a game for like 3 years. So I think they showed off some gameplay of it too. And I was just like, it has like a spin dash, I think, and it just looks like a little platformer. I I don't know. I could like what a way to like encapsulate Sonic's anniversary, honestly. Like I feel like with how disappointing this year has been for the anniversary, like Pico Park is like the perfect game to put out this year. It really is. It's just like the holy grail of this year, Pico Park. Straw Hat says positive that Eggman will overthrow Lex and take over the Legion of Doom. Yeah, I think that's gonna happen as well. But man, it's sad that we haven't had any games to really talk about. Crossroads. I'm I always have to say like I'm glad that people like it, but I want like story. And even with all the shortcomings that Superstars had, which was like I guess the most recent outside of Crossroads, I'm glad that it had a little bit of a story and some like tie-in comics to like make the story a little bit more fleshed out, even if it's not like the best story or anything or like too clear, but there's something. I really wish Crossroads had a story to talk about. We got a comic that tied into it and talked a little bit about it, but uh, as someone that enjoys stories and story video games, man, it's been a drought for me.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I actually like Team Sonic Racing for is the fact that it actually has a story that's the only Sonic Racing game to do that. Like you can have a career where you like have a set amount of stages you can do for like new characters and missions or something like that. But this is the only one where it's a concrete story with the Sonic characters, dialogue, and all that stuff that you can actually follow while doing the missions. And that's something Crossworlds miss like entirely. I was totally expecting a story mode of some kind because not only one, the previous one did it, and two, Dodon Paz here, all the characters, like we have such a wide array of characters to deal with now. You'd figure with all these voice lines, actually, that's probably where the story went, is all those different voice lines that they added in. Probably that was the story. It just felt, that part of the game just felt rushed to me. Like they kind of had like 6 months left to go, so they sacrificed any kind of story for those voice lines. That's what it feels like to me. I'm glad that we got the fan service stuff and those little references to chew on for a few weeks, but then after that, it's just like, it's just it's the novelty gets lost after the voice lines. The story is an actual concrete thing you can follow and can be replayed for years
Yes.
and years to come. And that's one of the many pitfalls of Team Sonic Racing, is the fact that that story isn't very good, but at least there is something to chew on there.
Yeah. I remember like saying that I wish that there was a story, and people are like, well, we have the rival dialogue or whatever it's called. I'm like, that's not really like a good excuse, because we're kind of, this is a problem in the gaming industry right now where it's like one step forward, like 300 steps back. Why are we having less content in games that came before? I really feel like even if they like half baked it, there could have been a story mode. It didn't have to be anything crazy. You know, the story mode is the reason why we even have the Donpa as a character, as much as I hate that Tanuki. But it's fun. Like, I didn't know if the Donpa was actually Eggman in disguise or like a minion of his or something when he at first like was on the scene. And it was kind of fun to just like have that mystery be unraveled as time went. And just a little something to hold me over while I'm playing through these like different tracks and whatnot. It was fun. So yeah, it's something that I was really hoping for, and I was like very disappointed when it wasn't in the game. And I really don't think that you can say that the rival dialogues are a great substitute or anything, especially because like you can just skip over them like I do. I know I saw some clips of them on YouTube, and some of them are fun, but it's like I would still just rather have a story. You recorded all these voice lines, like put it in a story.
Yeah. And I think this is something that a lot of fans wouldn't accept, I think, but you could even bring back like Ken Pontac and Warren Graff to write a story for this game. I would be perfectly fine because there's actually a story mode. Ian Flynn's a great writer, don't get me wrong, but I think that his reference heavy writing, it could suit the story. It could, because it's a very small game. It's kind of self-contained, honestly. But I think that's all it would be, because he has so little story to work with there. But something about Team Sonic's Racing's writing, I don't know what it is, but it is one of the funniest games in the series, like unintentionally too. Like, there are just little moments of dialogue that are just like not supposed to be funny, but they're just funny because of the delivery and maybe any accidental joke that made it into the scripts. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but I found Team Sonic Racing funny. I still do. But that's also something that Crossroads misses. That these character interactions are really cool, but there's no like emotion. It's just like the two characters going back and forth. It's just like, what's the word? I'm thinking of it. It's just slop almost. It's
Yeah.
writing slop. Like, there's no
It's there
substance.
to be there. There's no
Yeah,
real reason for it. It has no soul. Like you're saying, like the writing in Team Sonic Racing, it has purpose behind it, and the delivery actually like feels like they were kind of having fun with it. This one's kind of like, I don't know, it's just bland, like you were saying. It doesn't feel like there was a purpose other than like, hey, let's make this maybe fun reference or like something like that.
yeah. It feels like it was there out of obligation. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you're gonna have to remind me, because even though I just played it, I can't remember. Is there dialogue while you're racing in the new one? Do they talk to each other?
They do every so often. Like, you'll hear, like, especially if you hit another NPC with something, they'll have a personalized one like Team Sonic Racing. But again, it's nowhere near as funny as Team Sonic Racing. In fact, it's the most generic aspect of the game, because they barely it's there's no references even. Like, there's nothing like that to even chew on. It's just, hey, you did this. Screw you, I'm gone. Like, it's nothing
Yeah.
of substance even.
Yeah, and Sonic Freeriders is not a great game. I actually enjoy it, but that game had a story too. And it is like also very lazy, kind of like just toss PNGs up and then have voice acting. But the voice acting is, it's decent. And then the story's kind of fun. Like Metal Sonic is kind of like turning against Eggman again, and he's snuck into the race, and he's taken on like a different form of a robot to like disguise himself or something like that. It was kind of fun playing through it the first time and not knowing what was going to happen, and that Metal Sonic was going to actually be the true villain of the game and not Eggman. So I don't know. Crossroads does a lot of things right, and I feel like they really could have just benefited from having a story, and I think I would have actually liked it a lot more. Vice Hella says Free Riders is great story wise. Yeah, I actually thought it was pretty fun. Speaking of Vice Hella, guys, check out his channel. He's been putting out videos on the IDW comics, some theories on what the smoke is and stuff like that. So fun stuff over there. Friend of the channel, so great time. Go check his stuff out. Straw Hat says, I heard that IDW and Sega were planning to make Styx canon. That would be cool. I mean, they've referenced Styx in Frontiers. That might actually be it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they've said anything else. But
did you hear the concept behind that though? Like I saw this YouTube short a couple days ago. It's from another comic guy who does exclusively comics. Like he doesn't talk about anything else. There were originally for the first story arc of IDW, the Fall of Angel Island or whatever they called it, Styx was apparently supposed to be revealed to be living on the island this entire time. And like, this is something that was almost there, but then they were like, no, this is too much. And then they cut her out of the story. But there's a chance, like you said, reference in Frontiers, she was in this doesn't count for anything, I don't think, but she was in the Mario and Sonic 2016 game. It was probably just boom crossover. But there's a chance she could come back in the IDW comics, and you know how funny it would be to see someone like Styx be the person behind the main villain or something like that.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. There you go. That would be awesome. Put another theory out there. I'm kind of mad now that I heard from you that they cut that. Like that's kind of a fun idea. Surya Dragon says, I'm very surprised when this famine of games, Sega really dropped the ball to bring back down their top tier games, Heroes, Adventures. Yeah, and we can also talk about that a little bit. Did you see that? I think it was Azuka said he wants like every Sonic game playable on like modern consoles or something like that. And it's like, well, then what are you like? Are you guys actually cooking something? Or are you just saying that?
Yeah, the same guy that said it would take as much effort to port a new Sonic game to modern consoles, or not port, but completely remake a Sonic game for modern consoles as it would a normal mainline Sonic game, which no, when that's straight up just a lie. You don't even have to do much. Just update the graphics. That's pretty much it. The stories are perfect, pretty much, especially those storybook games. They're really good, except for the endings of Secret Rings. That it's not that best there. But there's still fun games, and I think that's something they really should have considered, because we haven't had a port of a Sonic game since Sonic X Shadow Generations, which I would even go further back because that's kind of its own game by itself because of the Shadow Generations part. So let's go to Colors Ultimate was the last thing that we got, and before that it was I don't even know. Originally I cannot talk. We were originally supposed to get Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 ports in 2015 before that, but that didn't come to pass, of course. But even if any game I would have taken as a port, the Rush games or any sort of DS
oh my gosh, yes,
cool. Or like Sonic Lost World's already on Steam. Let's port that to the modern consoles.
Yes, I want to play these games so bad, dude. You're listing all these games, and all of them I've thought about. Like, as someone that's newer to the franchise, I haven't played every Sonic game. I've played a lot, and I have completed nearly all of them. I have 2 games on Xbox that are not completed, that being Crossworlds, which I'm getting close to, and then Adventure 2, which I will finish someday, but man, I really hate the treasure hunting. But I want to experience Lost World, like not just watching someone else play. I want to play that game. Like it looks cool. I know a lot of people don't like it, but to me it looks fun. I want to play the storybook games. I bet I'll like them. Like I enjoyed Sonic 06. Like call me crazy, but I thought it was fun. It is broken. I will not defend the fact that like it is not a perfect game. It is very busted. There are parts that made me rage, but I still had a good time with it. These games aren't always going to be like perfect or for everybody, but I still want to at least try them and experience them. Like Rush, I haven't played Rush, but it looks so fun. So like just bring these games over. I bet it doesn't take that much effort to like port them and make them playable on the modern consoles. So he can talk all he wants and say that. I think it's just like lip service at this point. and he's just saying things that he knows we want to hear, but he's not actually doing anything about it. And it's upsetting because I know that Colors Ultimate had its problems, especially I think on Switch. Um, I didn't really run into any issues, luckily. I actually had a fun time with it. Not my favorite Sonic game, probably not even in like the top 5 conversation for me from what I've played, but I enjoyed it. I was like I was really excited like getting to play it for the first time. So Zapat really quickly says here that Styx was supposed to appear in Christmas art, but later changed her because it was disrespectful for her. And then Straw Hat says that Styx is basically the Harley Quinn and Deadpool of the Sonic verse. Yeah, she's crazy. We also have Zapbat saying that Sega should with Rush, but there could be some issues mainly with the OST. But I also don't think that's too big because they could just swap in some other music, you know? So if they don't own, you don't think they could do that
No,
legally?
no, they could do that legally, and I think the fans would take it either way. But unlike Sonic 3, where it's kind of like, you could take it or leave it, even though Michael Jackson, the GOAT, made those songs.
Yeah.
Like you could still take it or leave it, and still just remake the songs. Sonic Rush, those songs are like pretty much integral to that game's feel. Like unlike Sonic 3 where you could swap it out, it doesn't really matter that much. Rush like almost relies on its music for the immersion of the game. And there are so many good songs. And the reason why they said there's a bit of legal issue there is because they sample so many different songs like from across the world in that. So there'd be a bunch of different things you'd have to jump through hoops there, especially with the first Rush game. So I wouldn't port Rush unless you could bring the music back, but that's just me.
That's crazy. I didn't know they did that, but man, why did they have to make it so difficult? I want to play that game. Near Fantasy says, I think 06 is good in concept and I like the ideas and the story that they try to do, but honestly, the gameplay is garbage. You know, I actually like Sonic's gameplay. I like Shadow's gameplay. They're very similar to each other. I think, like, I don't know, the homing attack just always feels really good to me. But there are segments of the gameplay that I will agree is trash, like the Sonic Mach speed sections. Oh my gosh, I hated those, especially when I was getting like the achievement to get all the silver rings. Dude, you turn like a freaking brick, and I hate that. It was so bad. Tails, his flying also feels bad, and his like fake ring attack that he threat. Yeah, there's a lot of bad gameplay, but there is some good gameplay in there. Don't even get me started on Silver. Tragedy says maybe Sonic 06 could be good in another universe. Yeah. I mean, you know, we've seen that like a fan could create Sonic 06 and make it good. So I mean, why is Sega not maybe improving upon that game too? I don't know. Nier says Styx is my favorite character. I hope to see her again. She's fun. I always find it funny when people confuse her and Marine since they look so similar to each other.
Yeah.
Zapbat says not only songs, they also sample Martin Luther King. Yes,
They do.
I think I did see that in a video, like a short or something, that they sampled like one of his speeches or something, which is funny. Straw Hat says, "Do you think Eggman would create his own version of Robot Masters?" I mean, I think that's kind of what he's going to do with the Metal Legion in a way. Vicella says, I hate time travel in Sonic, not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, you might hate Sonic Movie 4 because I'm guessing we're gonna get some time travel there. I like time travel in Sonic. Like most things I do hate time travel in, so I agree with you that like sometimes it's annoying, but you know, if done right, it can be great. Back to the Future, one of the greatest movies ever, one of the greatest trilogies ever, and you know that's all time travel. But time travel's been like a core component of Sonic since CD, so it's been a staple. Like he can be based on Flash's villain team. Vicella said, I thought they sampled Malcolm X, not MLK. Oh, okay, maybe it was Malcolm X,
Malcolm.
actually.
Right, yeah.
Thank you for the correction. Your fantasy also saying it was Malcolm X. Yes. I remember seeing that from a short, and Yeah, that's just kind of weird that they sampled so many different things for that game. How did they legally get away with it like the first time?
Because I think back then sampling culture was like a lot different than it is nowadays. Like no one cared if you use some random piece of something out there, but nowadays it's this whole legal battle of people wanting to own what they've already copyrighted. So it's a whole big thing nowadays as opposed to back then. Yeah.
Crazy. So if they could, if what Azuka was saying isn't just like pure lip service and they're actually thinking of like bringing back some of these games and making them playable on modern console, what would be the game that you want to like have on your PlayStation the most?
That is a good question, dude. I've thought of this so many times of what games I'd like to see back. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. That's like an easy pick, but I don't like Sonic Adventure 2. I'm just saying it's not
Let's
the best,
go! Let's go!
the most overhyped game in the series. Let's be honest here. It's the most overhyped game in the series.
Dude, that just like I just got like an adrenaline rush. Come on, let's go.
I'm
Well, I don't hate Sonic Adventure 2, but I do not like it, and I can't believe that it gets like praised as like the like pinnacle of Sonic games. I'm like, it's all right. I honestly think Sonic Adventure 1 is a little bit better.
Preach, brother. Oh my goodness. You know, they do that with Unleashed too. Like a lot of people don't like the Werehog, but they say Unleashed is one of the best games ever. I like
Yeah.
Unleashed because I actually like the Werehog, you know?
Yep.
And when they don't like the treasure hunting or the mech stages, they still praise Sonic Adventure 2 as one of the best games ever because they have so much nostalgia for the Chow Garden and the story and the Sonic segments and the Shadow segments too. Those are the only really objectively good parts of the game. And I don't even like the Chow Garden either. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's overhyped
Let's
too.
go!
True, you know, but Sonic Adventure 2 is so overhyped, dude. So what I'm thinking about games coming back, I want to see something I've never played before. Let's get a Sonic Heroes. Let's get let's get a writers pack, let's do I'm trying to think of games I haven't played yet. Shadow the Hedgehog,
Yes.
as hard as that would be to do, especially with how much controversy surrounds that game, I think that would still be something cool to bring back. All of the Sonic Advance games, port those to modern consoles. Like I was saying earlier, the 2D games like Rush Adventure that I haven't played, do that as well. Lost World 3DS. There's the Boom games. You know it'd be really cool? Remaster the Boom games, bring them all onto modern consoles, make them good. That would be the coolest thing you could ever do. There's so much stuff that they're just sitting on that they just haven't done yet. And like 3D Blast or like Sonic R or like these late 90s Sonic games that no one ever touches anymore, like Knuckles Chaotix, or I just lost
Tail Sky Patrol. Like put something on console.
Don't bring that one back. No, I think was that one not included with the Game Gear games? I feel like it was, wasn't it?
Oh, it might have been actually. I didn't get that. You had to like get the deluxe edition of something, right?
Yeah, it was deluxe of Sonic. It was Sonic Origins Plus.
I never got that. It honestly actually might be there.
Yeah, it probably is realistically. I haven't gotten it either yet because I just didn't care that much about it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But that there's still so many games that Sega hasn't even touched. They love acknowledging them. They love talking about them all the time. They never touch them. They should do.
All right, so we're retitling the stream. Sonic Adventure 2 is overhyped. No, but
how many subscribers you'd probably lose just like immediately? Probably not too much.
Dude, no, it actually could be a few. But so all right, I'm confused though because Sonic Adventure 2 is playable on Xbox. Is it not backwards compat on PlayStation?
It's a little tricky with PlayStation. There have been I downloaded on my PS3. That's how I've been able to play it. For the past like 10 years at this point. They did that back in 2011 and those have been permanently available. It was available on PlayStation 4 for a little bit of time, but I believe that's because it was under PlayStation Plus. It was there for a few years, but then now it's gone because they cycle through those games. But now there's been no real way to play it beyond the PS3 and Xbox 360 games, and now with the backwards compatibility of the current Xbox consoles. So PlayStation hasn't had a way to play these games since like 2013, like when they were on the PlayStation 3. And now, well, you got no other way to play them.
We're really like about to be in like a gaming crash era because I mean both like systems and even PC like are ridiculous at this point. I mean, you just did a video on Steam being like the Steam Deck being absurdly priced over $1,000. Stupid business practices like why is Sonic Adventure 2 like not backward? It really should just be backwards compat so PlayStation players could play it. Xbox is getting a price hike in like a few months. The state of gaming is just not like it's not well, it might be the worst it's ever been, but like it's not all doom and gloom. But man, it's just like a lot of bad things right now. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. I was gonna say, well, technically, it's not absurdly priced considering it's technically an entry level gaming PC. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like it's positioned itself as a console. That's like everyone who says like, no, it's not a console. It's technically a console. Like everyone knows that it comes with a controller for Pete's sake. Let's be honest here. But yeah, no, and especially when GTA 6, I so want GTA 6 to fail because, well, first of all, the gaming industry needs to crash. Let's be honest about that here. We need to have that fall off, and then everyone picks it back up with like indie studios, lower priced consoles, more developers coming in to challenge these bigger things, offer a better product. But two, every bad thing that GTA 6 does, like the no discs, the $100 full game locking content off there, that's going to happen too with a bunch of AAA games now. And I'm sure this scares me too, because I'm sure Sega is going to see something from that and do that with the Sonic series.
Yeah,
that scares me, dude. Like, I can't even think of it. Oh my goodness, wow. I didn't even think about that until now.
What do you think if like the next Sonic game is announced and they're like, you know what, we've been working like half a decade on this game. It's the biggest Sonic game we've ever made. It's going to be $80 at launch, no physical copy. Can you imagine that?
Dude, you know, I wouldn't be buying that game. I wouldn't. I love my physical media, bro. Like, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, for as much as I love that game, one of the biggest regrets I think I've ever had was not purchasing that game on physical. I think. Because there's nothing to show for it on my set. I literally just have the pixels on my screen to show for it. And I'm $90 down the drain at that point, too. So we need physical stuff, bro. Like, if they do that, I'm not buying the next Sonic game. At all. You guys have fun. I'm not not
I really hate how even like modern physical games just are like they're almost just key codes essentially to play your game. The game's not even on the disc, and it's so annoying too because I play my 360 a lot, and I actually have a lot of fun like going to GameStop or like other stores and looking for 360 games, and the game is on the disc ready to play. I don't have to like download like a ginormous update with the 360, so I can just like pop it in, play it right away, and it's just fun doing that. But man, it's just weird the direction that gaming has been going.
Yeah, I think genuinely digital games have ruined the landscape, I think. Because then it encourages, like, they kind of had to transform their whole way of doing things on consoles where you have to now download the game instead of it being on the disc. And digital games, that's a whole other topic too, about the fact that digital games should be cheaper because there's no cost of labor involved in terms of making a physical product. But they're not. They're oftentimes more expensive, like what we saw with Crossworlds and every digital deluxe. I hate digital deluxes, dude. Those things are so bad. For $10 more, it's oh my god. I could talk about this for hours, probably.
Yeah, I really hate it too. And we've been all over the place today, but it's awesome. Zapbat says DS Trilogy or even 3D Blast is something he'd want to see. Did you have a definitive answer? I can't even remember now of what game you would want to see.
You know, I've always been so intrigued by Lost World, but I don't think that's the one I choose.
Okay.
I would go with Sonic Heroes. I think so. That's the one that
Yeah.
everyone talks about that I definitively haven't played and that I actually want to play, besides like the storybook games, of course. But that's the one that I'm like the most intrigued by. Like, is this a good game? Is this a bad game? It's generally agreed upon that the gameplay isn't good in the storybook games and that the writers' games are just kind of whatever in terms of like if you should play them or not. But like Heroes is the one that you always hear the debate of, is it the greatest Sonic game of all time? Is it the worst Sonic game of all time? That's always the one I hear about people either hating or loving. So I need to know for myself, is it a good or a bad game?
Yeah, that's the one I really want to play too. That or I guess a close second would be Shadow the Hedgehog because it looks kind of similar in some ways. And I don't know, Shadow's awesome. But yeah, that game, it looks fun. And I'm so mad that we didn't see anything this year because there were so many rumors. I would watch other Sonic YouTubers and they're like, guys, like there's a Sonic Heroes remaster, or like they're gonna port Sonic Heroes. We're gonna see it this year. So like I was watching these other Sonic YouTubers. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, we're about to cook. We're about to eat so good with like Sonic Heroes on like modern consoles. I'm ready. I'm ready to play this game. And nothing. I don't think it's coming.
You know, I do think they did actually legitimately cancel a Sonic Heroes port. I think
Do
so.
you?
Because the same person who had originally leaked it was the same person who revealed Sonic Rumble.
Really?
Yeah, it was Sonic Toys Party back then too. And like we didn't even know about the game. There are 3 Sonic mobile games coming out. One of them has come to pass, Sonic Rumble. And they leaked Sonic Heroes remake or remaster, whatever they wanted to do with it back then, slated for a 2026 or 2027 release. Now, I can guarantee you that thing was canceled. Like, we have not seen a shred of any info about that since that point. Like,
Oh my
dude,
gosh.
yeah.
That just like genuinely made me depressed because if that is true, can you imagine that we live in a world where Sonic Rumble gets released and a Heroes like remaster or a Heroes port doesn't? Can you imagine if that is actually our reality right now? They're like, yeah, this is a better business decision. Let's release Sonic Rumble and not finish a Sonic Heroes remaster or port. That is crazy. That actually just made me so depressed. I hope that's not true.
You know what world we do actually live in?
Hmm.
We traded the failure of Sonic Boom for Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remakes in 2015. Yeah.
Wait, so they were gonna remake Adventure, but they did Boom instead?
No, it was, if Boom was a success, they would go ahead and launch
Oh,
the 1 and 2 remakes. But since Boom was such a massive failure, Sega had to restructure in 2015. So those are just completely shelved, and they've been shelved ever since. I don't think we'll see a shred of that ever, even if someone like says something in Sega. Like, who knows?
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Tragedy 910 says, do you guys know that to be in Chaos Hunt, you need to let Sega give your data away to train AI models? I did hear about this. Did you hear about this, Sanic Boy?
I did, and
Yeah.
I've been completely avoiding the topic ever since. Bro, I don't care, bro. Like, I wasn't gonna go to the VIP thing anyway. So
yeah, I don't even really know what it is. I didn't look into it because, quite frankly, I didn't care enough. It seems like, is it a New York event or is it actually around the world, or what is this?
with the Chaos collectors, with the Chaos Emerald collection, it's like they're scattering emeralds across the United States, at least the lower 48. I'm not sure about Alaska or Hawaii. But yeah, it's just across the US. It's not across the world. I think the Master Emerald was found in Los Angeles, or found, quote unquote. They revealed that's where it was. I'm not sure if anyone has actually gone to go pick it up or anything like that. But you get like prizes and like VIP tickets to the Club Chaos event happening October 9th in Los Angeles, I believe, or maybe it's New York, one of those two. And it's not even that interesting. This is one of the things I'm like, really, this is our 35th anniversary announcement too, like. And it's also an 18 plus event. It's not actually like Sonic Boom events back in the 2014 2015 era where like everyone was invited from the fan base. Like, it's so stupid, dude. They have fumbled. Like, I don't care what anyone says, they fumbled the anniversary so far.
I don't like it that they do something like that because I love that there's a lot of older Sonic fans. It's a big part of the fan base. But the cool thing about Sonic is like anyone can get into it, like young, old, moms. kids. Like it doesn't matter, you know. Like if you like Sonic, you like Sonic. It's a family friendly franchise, and I think that's like a really endearing part of the franchise, at least for me. Like Sonic has his edge, which is sick. Like I love that. Like he's such a chill dude, but like he's a rascal at the same time, you know. But an 18 only event, that's kind of like, I don't know, that's a little bit lame. Like how cool would it be to like be a kid and like get to go to that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure like there would be kids that would be stoked to do that. So I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they try to appeal too much to an older crowd or an older demographic, and I don't know if I'm too fond of that necessarily.
Yeah, it reminds me of I'm not sure if you've heard about this. Do you remember in 2015 the Sonic Lost World Steam launch party in the UK?
Uh-uh.
Badnik, my goodness, Badnik Mechanic has a great video going over this. It was such a crazy event. There was alcohol everywhere. People went crazy because someone said everything was free if you said this one thing, and people just kept getting drinks and getting drinks that were Sonic themed. That's an event we could talk about too. But
That
yeah,
sounds
go
like
check
a
out Badnik.
disaster.
Like it
I,
was
I
either
might have
Badnik
to
Mechanic.
watch that after this.
Yeah, it was either Badnik Mechanic or it was someone else. But just search up Sonic Lost World Steam launch party 2015 or something like that. You'll probably show up. Let me look it up right now just so I can confirm it's there still. But this was such a crazy event. I remember like I was 10 and I heard about this. Oh my goodness, there's no way Sega did that. But yeah, they did it. It was one of the best things that's come out of the series in terms of like a news piece, because
Yeah.
you would just never think that would happen for Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is just kind of what the Club Chaos reminds me of. It's just something like that.
It's like, you know, I don't just like why does there need to be alcohol at a Sonic event? I guess is my question, you know? Like Sonic, like I said, he's edgy, but he was always marketed towards a younger demographic. So personally, I feel like there's no need to do something like that. But that's crazy. I really want to watch this now. That might
Okay.
be my video after the stream.
Yeah. So just so you can pull it up here, I'm putting it in the chat. And if anyone wants to go and watch it, I'm putting the link to it in the chat right now if you guys can see that. But yeah, it's there. It's by Badnik Mechanic. It's a really fun video. Check it out when you can.
Yeah, that sounds actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of this like Club Chaos thing, are you like a big like pop or soda drinker?
I mean, I have my vices,
You,
but you know, it's not like an everyday thing.
yeah, yeah. Well, I like pop a lot. But something that I just the name Club Chaos made me think, dude, why don't they like collab with like Jones Soda or whatever, or some company, and make like a Chaos Cola? And just like it could be like a limited time thing. Like they did it with what's it called? Fallout. When Fallout came out, they had their Nuka Cola stuff. So it would be like kind of like a fun little thing to do for Sonic, I think. At least for the 35th anniversary, do like limited time collectors like Chaos Cola thing. It'd be kind of like a fun reference to Chaos Cola or whatever from the games.
Yeah.
But I would buy it. So Near Fantasy says, I want more stories of Shadow outside of his past. I want Shadow to be a little edgy compared to Sonic, be able to tell deeper themes with him, but Sega have a lot of mandates to him. You know, I honestly think they did a really solid job with Shadow Generations and his story and having deeper themes in there. But once again, it does focus on his past. I think we might have touched on this before, like in an earlier stream, that they need to kind of move away from his past now. I think Shadow Generations kind of needs to be like the definitive like bow on the end of like this story of like Shadow really like dealing with like Maria and like coming to terms with her death and everything, and that he couldn't save her. They need to do new stories with Shadow, move forward from that. Because we all know by now that like that trauma is embedded in his character. We don't need to see it every time. But I think they did do a really good job with that game. If we could get like a spin-off now with like the same kind of mechanics and deep storytelling that isn't past related, I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah, you know, how do you feel about that Shadow? I think we've talked about this before. I'm not quite sure, but how do you feel about that Shadow Chasing Shadows comic getting canceled?
I'm mad about that. I'm so mad about that. It's actually the person that was writing it is the same author of the Sonic novels. What was his name again? It's I always remember it, and now, of course, when I want to pull it up, I can't remember his name. I think he's a British author, Keel Fegley, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah, Keel Fegley. He was supposed to be writing it, and I don't know what went wrong with that. They said it was like scheduling issues or some sort of problem like that. I don't know if I necessarily buy into all of that. Why are all these other comics coming out? It also seemed like it was going to tie into the mystery of this like mysterious villain in issue 100 because I think Shadow was going to be going after one of the Chaos Emeralds that went missing, and this he was supposed to like wind up in some like cult village or something like that, and like something strange was going on. So I'm really upset. I had that one like pre-ordered. It seemed like it was going to be fun. Shadow doesn't really get a lot of time to shine in IDW too, so it's like I don't know. I'm upset. I really was like, looking forward to that comic.
yeah. Yeah, I wasn't too invested because it's a comic spinoff. I get around to those when they come out, like in the graphic novels and stuff like that. But yeah, it is sad because, especially considering how Shadow's been treated in the IDW comics, with some of the worst writing in the comics history. Like, especially like what was it, issue 20, 21 or something, like somewhere around there. It was like,
When he's like just fighting the like metal horde and just
yeah,
like doesn't listen to Sonic. He's like, I'm just gonna punch my way out of it. Yeah, it's so stupid.
yeah,
It's like Shadow's clearly like the edge lord, but he's not dumb. I don't know why they're conflating the fact that like they like make him a jerk kind of, and that's not who Shadow is. He's more like there's an anime character I like from a show called Yu Yu Hakusho. There's a character called Hiei who's kind of like he rides that line between like villain and hero, and he's very edgy, but he's a really smart character, and that's what I see Shadow kind of being that character that most of the time he's going to be good, but he kind of rides that line, and I don't know, they just made him an idiot in that issue particularly that you're talking about. Like that one's such a joke. I think they did good with him early on, where like when Eggman is Mr. Tinker and Shadow rolls up and he sees him and he just wants to like kill him. I thought that was actually kind of cool. I'm like, dude, yeah, like I can see Shadow being like, you know what? This guy's committed a lot of atrocities. I don't care if he's Mr. Tinker. Quite frankly, I think he's faking this. I'm just gonna kill him. And Sonic's like, no, we have to protect him. I like that dichotomy between the two characters. So they
yeah,
don't always fumble him, but the issue you're talking about, yeah, they majorly fumbled him. Um, they've done some cool stuff with him. Like there's the issue where he's like fighting Starline and he like ends up finding Clutch is a bad guy and he has all these captured Chow. But yeah, it's too far in between that they use his character in like a really, really good way.
yeah.
So Near Fantasy says, honestly, I feel like a lot of Sonic games people hate on uh back then maybe was that the game was good, just hating stuff back then was cool. Um I mean, some of these like no Sonic game is perfect. No game in general is perfect. I think Sonic games get too much flack, possibly in my opinion. I've enjoyed like I I've said this before, like ad nauseum at this point, that like I've always heard bad things about Sonic games, and that's like part of the reason I never got into the franchise. I heard how terrible the games were. I heard how terrible the community was, and when I finally started to get into them, I was like, man, these games are actually kind of fun. I don't understand the hate for them. So I think there are flaws, but I think some of those flaws maybe are what's the word I'm looking for? Like blown out of proportion, I guess. That's my opinion, at least, from the games that I've played. Like, Sonic Generations, I played that game before I was a Sonic fan, and my biggest issue with it was I didn't know what was going on. Like, it was just a bit confusing to me because all of a sudden these characters were just standing in white space, and I had to talk to them. I'm like, I don't why are you guys acting normal? What's going on? Um, but it's one of my favorite Sonic games now that I understand a little bit more. I really liked Sonic Forces the first time I played that game. Going back recently, I definitely see the problems with it. Like, it's really short. Some of the levels aren't great, but I think it's still like a decent game. Sometimes I think Sonic fans expect a bit too much from the games, but I don't know. There's give and take there. Like, one of my first videos, I think it was actually my first video, and why I wanted to like start making videos was I saw so many people crapping on Sonic Frontiers, and I had just played all these Sonic games for the first time, and I'm like, man, I really like these Sonic games. Why is this community so negative? And I was kind of like saying, we got to give this game a chance, which I still believe. But I also now, like in retrospect, see where people were coming from, where this franchise has burned them so many times that what they were shown, they didn't really trust Sonic Team to pull through. So I'm of both minds where it's like there needs to be some leeway. We shouldn't really jump to conclusions about like a game's quality till you play it. But also Sega and Sonic Team have a bad track record where the games aren't always up to quality. So I do understand why people were kind of hating on Frontiers when it was first revealed. So I don't know. I can see it either way.
Dude, just so many truth nukes, dude. Sonic Forces is the most overhated game in the franchise, I think. Sonic Boom, okay, that's a bad game. I can see why. Sonic 06, okay. People can enjoy it, but I think it's objectively a bad game. Okay.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Forces is just decent. It's kind of, I think a lot of people look at it through the lens of Sonic Generations and how pretty much perfect that game's gameplay was. Story is a whole other topic, but I think Forces was really fun. Actually, it's one of the few Sonic games I still go back and play the levels in every so often. And I think a lot of people just blew it out of proportion because, again, it was kind of the culmination of all the things people didn't like about Sonic in the 2010s in one game. And the fact that the gameplay just wasn't as good as Generations, I think just it all came crashing down. Even though it's like a 5 out of 10 to 6 out of 10 game, I think a lot of people saw it as a 3 just because of how much they love Generations and how much the franchise has just been going down at that point.
Dude, this episode has made me realize how much like you and I actually have in common when it comes to like our views on certain games. Like both thinking that Adventure 2 is overrated and then thinking that Sonic Forces is overhated and like just a fine game. Actually, a lot of commonalities that I wasn't expecting. So this has actually turned into one of the more entertaining episodes when I thought we weren't going to have a lot to talk about. So this is kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read this. I'll say my piece.
Okay, Nova says Nux Chaotix would be fire as a remake, or just a part 2 of that with the modern versions of the characters. Yeah, that's a game I definitely need to play at some point. Because I mean that's like the origin of the Chaotix, right? Like that's what it's all from. So I've never touched that one. I don't even think I've really watched a lot of gameplay of that one. So all right, what were you gonna say, Sanic Boy?
Well, first of all, they should have included Knuckles Chaotix and Origins. Origins or Origins Plus should have had Knuckles Chaotix, but that's a whole separate thing. Same with 3D Blast too, but again, separate thing. Darn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh no! Let's see. You should have just gone.
What were we talking about? What were we talking about?
That we had like commonalities in our opinions of the games, and that this actually turned into an interesting conversation, despite me thinking that we might not have a lot to talk about in this one.
That's right. Two things. One, we should totally do like a tier list sometime of like certain things about Sonic, like tier list of the games, tier list of the comics, stuff like that. And then the second thing, I was like, I got the notification of the live stream. I was like, the strongest classic Sonic. Oh my goodness, he's already run out of ideas.
Yeah. I don't know. I was hoping that something would come to me to talk about, and I was like, I don't really know. and that's part of the fun of this, is that we can kind of just chill and talk about whatever we want when it comes to Sonic, and that's why I'm glad I have you as a co-host, because and you guys that are watching, because this has turned into such a great conversation, not necessarily even about what I expected to talk about. So, and there's always something to talk about in the Sonic franchise, so that's fun. Satbat says from a while ago that the game's only on PS3. PlayStation 4 doesn't have backwards compatibility. That's a really lame move on Sony's behalf, in my opinion. Sony and Xbox, come on, get it together, guys. Straw Hat said he would like super forms of Amy and Rouge, also Amy in her werehog form. That would be kind of cool to see, like a werehog Amy. You know, we were talking a little bit about how you like the werehog sections, and you said you think that's like a little bit overhated too. Like people that like really ride Sonic Unleashed, they don't like the werehogs. And I'm like, yeah, I thought the werehog was pretty fun. The one thing I will say that I do not like is the constant music theme whenever you're in a battle. It never changes. That actually did start to annoy me. But other than that, I had really like a really good time with the werehog. There were also like there was like a video I watched where someone was able to like jump a fence using a certain combo. So like I figured out how to do that by watching them, and I was like skipping certain sections doing that. So I really liked it. And there's a lot of downsides to Unleashed. Like the grind to get the medals to like unlock the next levels was super annoying. I hated that. The leveling up took way too long. So there's things that I think they could have taken from that game and evolved and made a really good game from that. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of like the werehog section is just weirdly overhated.
Yeah. You know, I know a lot of people find that battle music like very annoying now, but I
Do you
can't
like it?
but laugh whenever I hear it. For whatever reason, I find it so funny. I don't know what it is about it, but just whenever I hear it, I just start laughing, bro. Like even when I'm just playing the game, I'm like I just
Yeah.
can't keep it together. I just find it funny.
It's weird to me because I think Sonic Unleashed might have like the most tracks out of any Sonic game. I think it might. I could be wrong, but it has so many songs in it. And then for some reason they're like, yeah, one battle theme. That's it. And I'm like, why? Why? You have so many songs in this game. You couldn't come up with like a secondary battle theme or something to switch it up.
True.
But I do kind of like the jazz in it. The jazz is cool, but it really did like because I don't know if you've grinded that game to get the platinum trophy or anything, Sonic Boy, but I got the equivalent of the platinum, I guess, on the Xbox. I just completed all of it, and that music really did start to get to me after putting like I think it was like over 60 hours in it to complete it. Um, but yeah, I like Sonic Unleashed. I don't think it's anywhere near the best game. Especially people will look at it through a weird lens because now it plays well on like my Series X played it really well. I'm guessing on PC it plays really well if you have a good PC. But like dude, like I still got like some bad frames in that game, and I can only imagine how it would be chugging on my 360 if I was to play it on that. Like that game has a lot of technical problems that definitely inhibited it when it came out on like PS3 and Xbox 360. So people are looking at it from like a way different lens than people were looking at it originally. And I don't think that's necessarily fair because that game was made for old hardware and it did not perform well on old hardware.
Dude, you don't even have to imagine it being on the 360. Imagine on the PS3 what I played it on. Like the Xbox 360, at least it has an uncapped frame rate. Mine was stuck anywhere between 2 frames per second and 30 frames per second at any given time. It like was genuinely atrocious in the speed stages. The werehog stages are fine because you're not doing that much visually impressive stuff, but like Jungle Joyride is the worst
Yes.
example of this. When you're going through there, legit, I had about 3 frames every like 2 seconds. Like it was so bad.
I'm glad you remembered the name because I couldn't. That's the one, right, where you start and you go across water and then like you hit like a spring pad and you're in like a jungle area, correct?
Yeah.
Because that one was giving me a lot of problems. Like that was the worst level for me too. So even playing it on a Series X, it was atrocious.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna remember that name. I'm glad you did because I'm like, yeah, that sounds like the level that was causing me issues.
Dude, you know, the absolute like just eternal joy I felt seeing Unleashed recompiled in that Jungle Joyride scene finally being in full 60 frames per second with no problems at all. You have no clue how happy I felt then. That was just like that was like a life goal to see that at some point at 60 frames per second. It was so cool.
Speaking of like the older games, and we were kind of talking about them bringing how they said they want to bring games to modern consoles. Do you think it's kind of weird that they almost started like a trend of like bringing back old games because we had Origins, and of course we had um why is it escaping me now? We just talked about it. Colors brought back. Do you think it's weird that they haven't really brought anything back since?
Yeah.
Because like it felt like when they did Colors, like they were gonna start this trend of maybe like bringing all these like games back that were maybe stuck on Wii, like Lost World or stuff like that. And then they just kind of were like, Colors didn't really do great, so we're not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah, you know, I think I've said this before in a previous live stream, but I think I think Sega got like scared by Colors, and they haven't really done like a full remaster since. We've only had ports like Sonic Generations on modern consoles, or like, or even the classic games. Those are just ports. It's not like they like redid the what's it called, pixel art or anything like that. It's just straight ports. Colors Ultimate scared something in Sega. Like they haven't worked with like an outside company since. Like they haven't just outsourced a game ever since. They've worked alongside like Arzest on Sonic Superstars like heavily, and with Crossworlds too. I know they did other developers there too, but even then, Sonic Team was still involved, and Sonic Team just completely handled Shadow Generations, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Frontiers too. I think it awakens something in them to just not outsource things again, but they should probably do that because there are like even fans. This is something that Sega like did really good on with Sonic Mania, whereas like they positioned it as fans making the game by fans for fans, and that was really smart. They haven't done that since. Like something like pairing up with Chaos X for a Sonic '06 port. Like they should just buy the rights to the Sonic P06 and just port that. That would be cool.
Yes.
Or like Unleashed recompiled, or like what they did with Christian Whitehead, where he was porting the original two Sonic games. They did that for mobile, and then they used those for Origins and then Sonic Mania. And even nowadays too, that you have like what's the I can't even Project Reignited for Sonic and the Secret Rings, and then the Sonic and the Black Knight remaster too that fans are making. They should just go ahead and ask them to have that be, give them the full team too, give them the budget. That would be cool for the 35th anniversary. They should just do that.
Do you think they kind of got butthurt by like Christian Whitehead and his team kind of upstaging them? Because it came out recently that they did pitch Sonic Mania 2 and it got turned down despite being one of their best-selling games and like one of their most praised games, and they instead went with Superstars, which it's received criticism, but I think it was an okay game. But I think most people would have preferred Mania 2, and it feels like in one way, I think it was like Acorn Studio or something that ported Colors, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Flying Squirrel, right? Yeah. So in one way it seems like they did get kind of scared that they didn't really port it correctly, and then another team kind of like upstaged them, so it was like a weird amalgamation where no one really met them in the middle where they possibly wanted to meet, where it was just like they an outside team wasn't getting all this praise, but they also weren't getting all this hate. That's kind of what they wanted, and they never got it. It was both of the extremes. Like Christian Whitehead and his team upstaged Sonic Team, and then Flying Squirrels like kind of just like dropped the ball. So now they're not doing anything like that. It feels like.
Yeah.
I really feel like they got butthurt because I mean Sonic Mania 2, that would have sold like hotcakes. I'm not the biggest fan of Sonic Mania. I really enjoy it. The music, the visuals, everything is fantastic. The gameplay is so good. It's so smooth. I'm just not like a huge classic Sonic guy. I really like the 3D stuff. It appeals to me more. But I would have played Sonic Mania too. So Vice Hella says SA2 is overhyped. The story is basically really good fan fiction, just like all good stories should be. I I agree, overhyped, but I don't know about calling the story good fan fiction. I think I think the story is its saving grace, in my opinion, because I think they downgraded Knuckles and Rouge's gameplay. I think it was way better in SA1. Um, Sonic feels worse to me. I like the way Sonic controls in SA1 better. But the story, I think, is more interesting in SA2. But that's just my opinion. So I can definitely see people not liking it. But I think the story's fine. Any thoughts, Sonic Boy?
I can see what Vice Hell is saying about the fan fiction, because there's like a bunch of new characters and stuff that would seem kind of like out of a fan thing where it's like, oh, Eggman has a grandfather, or like Rouge being like a fan character that someone just added, or Maria being like a self-insert. I could kind of see that just a little bit, but I still think it does enough to build off the original adventure for it to be a sequel, like an official sequel, and it tells its own story as well. And Shadow, of course, Shadow is like just literally something pulled off of like DeviantArt. Like everyone's made that joke too, but like it's true. Shadow was kind of like Sonic's alter ego, and like that's always something you would hear about in fan circles. Like Sonic needs like a Vegeta, But yeah, I can see what he's saying about the fan thing, but yes,
yeah.
Dude, that's another truth nuke right there too. It's like SA2 is kind of like the only thing people like really remember about that game is the story. Like the speed stuff was fun, and the treasure hunting and the mech stages are just meh at the very greatest. But yeah, that's now that I think about it, that's the only thing really keeping up Sonic Adventure 2. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't think of it from that perspective that maybe like you could see it being fan fictiony with all these characters coming in, but I understand the point. I think it's just an evolution of the story personally, but I now that Sonic Boy's kind of voiced that, I see where you're coming from, Vice Hella. But yeah, I also just think the story's the best part holding it together, in my opinion. It's the one Sonic game, like I said, besides Crossworlds, where even now with Crossworlds, I'm going back to it and trying to complete it, where it's like, I just haven't really wanted to go back and complete it. I have to spend so many hours in the Chow Garden. I don't want to do that. I have to spend so many hours S ranking or A ranking, I think, the treasure hunting. I really hate the treasure hunting in that game. I really hate those stages so much. So I'll get to it at some point. But man, I don't know. SA1, I actually had fun going through it and like doing the snowboarding challenges and stuff. And the Chow stuff wasn't too grindy. My girlfriend also helped me a little bit with that because she actually likes the Chows. But I don't know. I just liked SA1 a lot better.
Yeah. And Big isn't even that bad either. I think you guys are bad at the game. You guys are just bad at the game because Big was the easiest part because his levels took like a minute or so if you knew what to do. Because like there's a specific button, or like I don't remember if it was a button or if it's like a thing you have to like a button prompt, like with multiple different buttons you have to click. But there's something that just like sped it up so quickly that it just immediately like you just got it every single time.
It is easy if you know that, because initially I was struggling a little bit. I was worried about Big section because I think I had watched like Game Grumps, and I remember like Aaron crashing out about Big's fishing or whatever. So I was like, oh man, this is going to be horrible. And I was having a little bit of like trouble really figuring it out. And I think I looked it up because I don't have the game manual. Obviously, I'm playing it digitally. And I figured out like what to do for reading from what other people posted. And it was so easy after that. But you have to have that knowledge of like what to do, since we don't have game manuals anymore.
True.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I accidentally did it my first try. I was like, wait, what the heck was that? I thought this thing took like 5 minutes. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I discovered that by myself.
It is world changing. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Syria Dragon says, I want Sonic Rush and Adventure now. Yeah. I really want to play Sonic Rush. They look so cool.
Yeah.
Strawhead says, do you think Eggman would take complete control of Brainiac and Ultron, like with a computer virus? I could see him doing that, definitely.
Yeah. Get Sage in there, corrupt all the code.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Sanic Boy. Does Crossworlds have a steelbook? Because I have no idea. I'm
Oh,
guessing you would know.
oh boy, yes it does. But you want to know what you have to get first? The limited run games
Oh
collector's
my
edition of
gosh.
Sonic vs.
No!
Crossworlds. Yep. Spend like $250 on it just for it not to come for like 2 years. And then you finally then get the steelbook once it's all ready. If you chose that option, of course.
Dude,
But
was it Crossroads where they just revealed like a sneak peek of like how that model's coming along for that limited run game one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the eyes on Shadow? They looked bad again. It looked like the like derpy one from, what was it, Shadow Generations, right?
Yep.
I was like, how did they, like, it's gonna be a whole issue again. I already know. Because they were like, here's the sneak peek of our like 3D model, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why does it already look back? What?
Yeah.
How did they not get him right? Like, look, I know, I understand that Sonic characters are kind of like hard to make, but like, dude, like, what are y'all doing over there? What are y'all doing?
It's
Limited run
too.
game sucks.
Yeah, it's funny too because they got that new CEO that's kind of like turning everything around, especially for the Shadow Generations one, where the statues actually look pretty good now, or to some extent they look better than what they did before. They're still the limited run game statues, but then you just immediately fall right back down to the Shadow split apart eyes. Oh my goodness! Like, do you think someone would at least like say something and try to like fix it with like a marker before they sent it out? But
Yeah. Dude, they've got to be trolling the Sonic fan base at this point. Satbat says, I almost bought 3 copies of Crossworld for the PS4. You gotta tell us how that happened, because that's crazy. Shu Billa says, hi, what is up, man? Welcome to the stream. Surya Dragon says, Malcolm X, not MLK. Yes, we know now.
Yeah, dude. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad that we didn't get a Sonic game this year, because I wonder if their limited run contract is still going to this day right now. Pico Park limited run collector's edition. That'd be so cool.
Dude, if they did that, you'd have to get it just for the memes.
I feel like I'd have to,
Yeah. Nova IVX says, Heroes is just slippy, but I love it. Yeah, it looks fun, but like Sanic Boy said, there's a lot of like debate within the community if it's like a good game or a bad game. You know what, guys? If Sonic Pico Park comes out to Xbox and PlayStation and it's cross-platform, perhaps a Sanic Boy Sonic Theory live stream of us going through our favorite Sonic game, Pico Park. Just a thought. Just a thought. Maybe, we might need some convincing, though. Maybe a super chat.
Yeah, can we get $1,000 for a Pico Park stream?
There you go. Satbat says, Sanic Boy, Heroes is available on PS3, but it's the PS2 version.
Dude, I know. That's why I bought Sonic Hero. It's right here. It's right here on my set. You can't see it because of the mic. You still can't see it because it's out of the way. But I bought Sonic Heroes being like, oh my goodness, I can play it on my PS3. I don't have the right PS3.
Oh, what?
It's not the specific model they made back in 2006 and 7 that it was like, yes, you can actually do backwards compatibility, but I got the one from like 2010 that they bought. That it was free with a TV, of course, so that's why I got it.
Yeah.
But, it was that was a sad day figuring out that it just had to be a collectible on my set rather than something I played.
They really just need to port it or remake it or something.
Yeah.
Nova also says, I remember the Heroes remake leaks. Team Future with Silver Blaze and Metal. I don't remember all that, but Team Future. That's funny.
Yeah.
Surya Dragon says, I just bought a Wii and Sonic and the Black Knight. That's fun. I think I still have a Wii. It's probably just like a paperweight somewhere, but I don't know if I'll go back to it. But I do want to try those games. I really do want to try like the storybook games. They seem cool.
Yeah, if your Wii doesn't work, I would just get a Wii U, because then you can also play Lost World and Boom on top of that. Not that you'd want to play Boom, but you at least have the option to, because then you can still play Wii games on that as well.
We do have a Wii U. I think my little sister might have it. That, or I don't know. We had one like at launch, and we barely played it. I think we played Mario Kart 8, and we played Super Smash Bros. It wasn't Ultimate and it wasn't Brawl.
Smash Bros for Wii U. That's what it was
Oh,
called.
that's what it was. Yeah. I think we played that. So that was, man, that feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, that was like the last Nintendo thing I owned. Near Fantasy says, I want a port of Sonic Unleashed. That would be cool.
But yeah, that's a pile of money they're sitting on right there because Sonic Unleashed sold like 3 million copies. So you'd think they'd want to import it to modern consoles.
Yeah. Vicella says, I want a Sonic Adventure 2 boost game. That'd be cool. Sonic Boom era felt like such a Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank type of era. Didn't feel like Sonic at all. Yeah, they were definitely trying something different with it. It has its fans, so it's cool. The games definitely fell flat on their face though. With man, everything I've seen of that game just looks atrocious.
Yeah.
But the only good thing that came from Boom was sticks.
Well, let's not be rash. We'll talk about that. But
all right, let's hear it. Let's hear it now.
Sonic Boom Fire and Ice is one of the best Sonic games ever.
Is it really?
Say it's one of the best Sonic games ever that I've ever played. I can't believe it's still stuck on the 3DS. Like, genuinely.
What if you could, like, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you could pinpoint like a mechanic or like a story element that like really made it stand out for you, what would that be?
The fire and ice mechanic, like the gameplay is practically unchanged from the first one that was actually bad. Except you just go faster in this one. So that immediately brings it up first. And then second, the fire and ice brings such a good rhythm to the game. Like, it's actually incredible. Like, how fun it is to switch between, because there are points where you got like an ice block and a water block where you have to quickly switch. Mm-hmm. You get in such a flow state with that game. There's so many fun levels, the dialogue's funny too. Like, it has the Boom Riders behind it, so it's good dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's just fun to play.
Man, I really wish I could try some of these games, man. I do not have a 3DS. I had a normal, like, a chunky DS from back in the day. I don't even think I still have that. But
yeah,
man, I hope that what Izuka said isn't all lip service and that they're actually planning on like bringing some of these games to modern consoles. But like we kind of said earlier, I doubt. I very much doubt that they have any plans to do that.
Yeah.
What soda do you think Sonic would like? He almost strikes me as like a root beer kind of guy, or maybe like a Coke or something.
Yeah, I'd say Coca-Cola, because that's like the closest thing we actually have in real life to Chaos Cola.
Yeah. Otani had a celebration with Chaos Cola. Oh, okay.
That is true. He did have a soda can that had a Chaos Cola wrap around it. I'm not sure if it was like specific.
There you go.
New drink, but it was something about Chaos Cola.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be new. Just partner with someone and just like just change the wrapping, for a little bit. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Should Longclaw be canon in the series? No, I like her canon in the movies, but I think the whole owl mom dynamic wouldn't work anywhere else.
Just the immediate nope.
No, I don't. I mean, like, mainline Sonic is such a departure from movie Sonic, where it's like movie Sonic works in a completely different vacuum, and I like it. But man, it's just not even close to mainline Sonic, and yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'd like that whole mom dynamic for Sonic in the comics or games or anything,
Yeah. Do a Sonic movie game, then you can have Longclaw and all that.
I've been saying this. They have their Paramount Game Studios now. We saw that at Summer Games Fest, and they're working on a Last Ronin game, which sounds like it could be cool. Do some Sonic movie games. Like, how cool would that be? We saw that it's possible with the little Keanu Reeves level in Shadow Generations, which I thought was pretty fun. I think a Sonic movie game would be stellar. I really do.
Yeah. Sega, you should get on that, bro. Just give them the Sonic rights and then boom.
Exactly. Any updates on your Blaze video? I have a thumbnail for it. I've been sitting on a Blaze thumbnail for a while now. It's not fully done, but it's like it's pretty close to being done. The video itself, it still might be a while. Uh, it's coming, but it might be like a month or two because now with all these comics coming out, I'm probably going to be covering those. But if I can find some time, maybe I'll start working on it in the background also. But yeah, it's something that I really want to work on, but I've just been busy, unfortunately. So speaking of thumbnails that I've been sitting on for a long time, that Starline thumbnail that I just put out for my new video, man, I've been sitting on that thumbnail for like over a year because
Really?
originally that was going to be a thumbnail for a different video. I was telling you a little bit about this Sonic Boy behind the scenes last week, where I had a really long script. It was like 50 plus pages, and it was going to be a super long video all about Starline, and it didn't end up coming to fruition because I felt it was just a bit too boring, a bit too I'm just recapping what's going on, and like sure I was giving some thoughts here and there about like the evolution of Starline's character, but I didn't really like how the script ended up. So but I liked the thumbnail. I really liked the thumbnail and I wanted to use it. So I finally found a way to like kind of repurpose it for this video. So glad I finally got to use it, but maybe someday I'll go back and do a full like Starline kind of documentary video essay type video on them. But yeah, I've been sitting on that thumbnail for a like long time. Nova agrees that Shadow is definitely a Hiei type character. Everyone loves an anti-hero. Yeah. Vicella says, post Forces, Shadow is in character. He let Infinite go and not Tinkerer. Good development, not gonna lie. Yeah. Yeah, I also just man, I think it's so cool too, that the IDW comics like pick up right after Forces. I've always thought that was so cool. Strawhead says, honestly, Metal Sonic would devastate Cell. Wasn't that like a death battle or something that they did? Oh no, is Sonic Boy frozen or am I frozen? Did we lose Sonic Boy? Sonic Boy down. Oh no. We lost Sonic Boy, guys. We'll see if he can recover or if he wants to be done. Sonic Boy, let me know in the chat. Okay. We'll wait for him for a bit. Because I'm actually having fun with this. This has been a good conversation, honestly. But if he also wants to be done or can't reconnect, we might have to end it. Yes, Sonic Boy was in deep thought, honestly. He was just really pondering, everything that we've been talking about today, so but he'll be back. Trust. All right. All right. We'll wait on Sonic Boy for a bit. But let's see. Let's catch up on some chats while we wait for him because like you guys have been awesome with the chats today. I'm really behind. We've been having a pretty good conversation. Let's see. Straw Hat says, honestly, Sega should do a remastered version of Lost World and Forces. Lost World, I don't think either of those games necessarily need a remaster, but I would like to see Lost World at least ported over to modern studios. It looks like we may okay. We may have Sonic Boy back in a bit. I saw him join the studio, but he had to leave really quick, so we'll see what's going on. But yeah, I think both of those games hold up visually, especially with the art style that they go with. But I don't necessarily agree that they should do a remaster, but just a port of at least Lost World would be fun. Sonic Forces is tech demo. It has Infinite, so 11 out of 10. Let's see. Sonic Forces is tech demo. It has Infinite.
I've returned.
Sonic Boy is back.
This is what
Did
my
you see?
phone's. This is
Did you
what
see
I
the
get for not,
chat?
bro. This is what I get for not enabling my 10% battery notification, dude.
They were like, you were like stuck in the post like this, and they were like, he's like deep in thought right now.
Yeah.
There we go. What did we say? Tech issues. It's not a Sonic Saturday without some tech issues. So we have cemented our place as an official Sonic Saturday episode. Dude,
Finally.
it's a staple, honestly. I love it. It's become our live stream quirk on honestly.
Yeah.
Vice Hella says Sonic Forces is bad because they didn't make the dragons playable. The dragons in Sonic Forces. Oh no. Oh no. Did Sonic Boy crash out again? Okay, I think he's here. Yeah, I can see him moving now.
Thing it just crashed again because I just switched to my mobile data. What? Oh man.
If we need to wrap up at any point, we've been going on long. Just let us know if you can, even if you have to do it in chat. But I don't want to keep you any longer than you want to be here. But I can keep going if you want to keep going. If you're like, I don't know if my phone's gonna let me, we can end it here.
We're all plugged in. I'm actually on my good internet now, so I'm not like you see me like 3 pixels of me. So we're doing good. We can keep going if you want to.
Okay. Straw Hat says, Sonic Theory and Sonic Boy, have you both thought about creating new Sonic characters and villains, OCs, for the series? I haven't necessarily thought about creating an OC outside of like my Sonic Watto, like ugly amalgamation that I had Saffy Taffy draw for me, but I have thought of like creating fan fiction stories. You know, I think that's kind of fun. Like maybe like what ifs. You know, it's not something that necessarily I'm constantly thinking about, but I've tinkered with the idea for like videos, making like a what if, you know, Infinite didn't lose at the end or like something like that. So more like fan theories, but not really OCs. What about you, Sonic Boy?
I have a couple. You know, everyone likes to like picture their dogs or any sort of pet as a Sonic character. Like especially with Forces too, like how they did that whole character creator. You just kind of do that naturally. But I was thinking in my head one of these back in like 2021, I believe I was making like an eagle character. You know, it was anything. It was literally just a bald eagle as a Sonic character, no clothing or anything like that. But you know, it was cool. And in regards to like fan fiction and stuff like that, they are not good whatsoever. Let's just get this straight first. But I used to do like a little Sonic comic series where I just
nice.
draw the characters in like different situations. It went on for a few like about 100 or so issues and like spin-offs and stuff like that. You know, I I even found a couple when I was cleaning up my room a couple of days ago, and I was like, it was such a trip down memory lane because first of all, the writing's so bad, the art was bad too, you know. But yeah, it was just fun to see where that started off from, and I even saw some like Sonic Boy concept art, quote unquote, where it's like I found like original names that I was originally going to use, you know, different channel ideas. Like it was cool.
That is cool. I've seen you post some of your drawings on your channel, and they're really good, dude. Like they are seriously good. And you know, the fun of like fan fiction or creating like your own original characters is like you're using your imagination to like make all these different scenarios or characters. And I think that's so fun. One of the things I really had fun with on my last video is like, you know, and last live stream was coming up with all these ideas of like what could be going on with this new character, this new villain, and ideas of how Starline could survive and how it could possibly be him. And one of the coolest things was I was like, I want to hear everyone else's theories. So I got so many comments that are like, dude, you're way off base. Like, here's what I think is actually going on. And I love it. Like, people were like using their imagination and like just like creating all these different scenarios. And it's so fun because you know, it's one thing to like read or watch or play something and just take it as is, that's fun. I do that with a lot of things. But when you're really invested in the franchise, like how we all here care about Sonic so much, to like really engage with the material and like go beyond and like start thinking of all these different things, engaging it on a different level, it's so fun. So That's cool. Maybe sometime you can like post like a snippet from one of your old comics on your like community tab or something. Unless they're like too embarrassing to show, but I think that would be cool, man, just to see like, some of your old stuff because you were younger when you did it, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
Near Fantasy says, honestly, I think Sonic Forces deserves the hate. Custom characters were cool, but the trailer kind of baited us, and they could have done more, and it could have been longer. It is a short game. I do think the trailers kind of set it up, and even the story's premise itself set it up to be this like grand epic where Eggman actually wins. Like he wins, he takes over the world, like 99% of it. So uh I understand the issues with like the story, like the tone's all over the place. It wants to take itself seriously, but at the same time, it's still very jokey and like very lighthearted and kiddie, which not everyone's gonna really mesh with that and how they kind of like threw everything together. I think it's still a lot of fun. It's not the best Sonic game, it's not my favorite, but I think I still think it's overhated. Um there's a lot of elements to the story that I still really enjoy. I think it's actually one of the better story games despite like the mishmash of like tones. There's a lot of cool things that they did with it. And I think the comics actually also help like tie things together about like how serious this threat that Eggman posed was and how devastating it was that Eggman actually took over the world. And you actually get to see the ramifications of that, and that's why like the restoration is formed and they're like trying to repair all the damage that Eggman had caused in that war. Unfortunately, the game does gloss over a lot of that, which I think is a disservice to the grand stakes of that game. Tragedy's like, they need to catch up with the live chat. Yeah, we are so behind, but it's been good conversations. It's been good conversations. So a bit behind. I'm trying to get through like everyone's chats. Do you guys like anime? And what is your favorite? My favorite is Yu Yu Hakusho. Second would probably be Fairy Tail. I mean, those two actually might flip at any moment. Naruto is really good. That might be like third. And then we just started, my girlfriend and I just started watching Hunter x Hunter. She's already finished that series. I just started it, and that one's been pretty fun. So, what about you, Sonic Boy?
Dude, I don't like anime. I don't know what it is about it. I just don't like it. I would have to say Sonic X because that's the only one I've fully finished. But I like the Pokemon anime. That was pretty cool in the first few seasons. The only like actual like real anime you could say that I've seen is like the first season and a half of My Hero Academia, mostly because my ex-girlfriend wanted me to watch it. Because she was a really big fan. I just couldn't get into it. I just thought there's something weird about it, and that's just kind of turned me off from a bunch of other animes too. But I'm sure like One Piece, Naruto, all these like Attack on Titan, they're probably really good, just not for me personally. I'm more of like a live action drama guy, like The Rookie with Nathan Fillion or Doctor House or The Mentalist. I like those shows a bit more than like animation, like anime stuff like that.
I feel that. I'm kind of like you, where I mean, I actually like seen more anime, but it's never really called to me. I actually do have manga like back there for Fairy Tail because that series actually really spoke to me for some reason. But for the most part, like there's like huge anime fans. I would not consider myself one, but I do really like Yu Yu Hakusho and Fairy Tail. With you being a huge like live action drama guy, not to get too off topic, have you ever seen Lost?
I've heard a bunch about it. I haven't. I should probably watch it.
Dude,
I haven't yet though.
I would highly recommend it. If you ever take any recommendation from me ever, watch Lost. At least the first like season, see if you like it. It is. I think it's the best like piece of television ever created. It's so good, especially if you like drama. There's like the main character's a doctor, so you get like a lot of like his stuff going on there. Is the mentalist like a doctor or is he like a therapist or something?
The Mentalist used to be like a game show host where he could like read people based off of like human behavior. It's such a good show. I'm only like 7 episodes and I love it so much. But yeah, he's more of like a human behavior studier kind of guy, and he uses that for crime solving.
Okay. Dude, I think you'll like Lost. Just judging off that like little premise that you gave me there. I think you'd like Lost. It really explores the human element. There's two characters that are constantly butting heads. Like one is a cripple who suddenly, well, okay, I actually can't spoil it if you do watch it, so I'm not going to say anything. But there's a lot of like, really like human elements explored. It's just so good. It's literally like the best writing I've ever seen in a television show. I'm not even joking. It's so good. But we'll get back on topic with Sonic here. Vicella says, "Bro, we should make a chaos energy power plant one day." That would be awesome. It would power the entire US grid. DC Supervillains Lego game is really better when it comes to custom characters compared to Sonic Forces. That game did have really good customization. I guess in your opinion, yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that because Lego DC Supervillains is my favorite Lego game. Like that game was amazing. But I do think Sonic Forces had like really good customization because to complete it, I had to get like nearly everything. I think, or I had to get everything. So there's like thousands of options there. So you could really like customize your person. I think both are good. Zapbat says, don't know if you guys talked about it, but what if Boom succeeded? Like, what I mean is you wouldn't accept the new timeline, the fact that the old stuff won't be continued or something like that. So what you're saying, I'm guessing is like if Boom succeeded and then we didn't get any like mainline Sonic stuff. Do you think is that what he was trying to say?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I don't know if I would like that. I kind of Boom's cool as its own spin-off kind of thing, kind of like how the movies are cool as their own thing. I don't think I would like if all of them just cease to exist. Kind of like how, I understand the pain that Archie fans feel with that just like coming to a close and like being gone, So it's like I don't know. Some of these things really work well in their own sphere. Like Sonic, we've talked about this before too. Sonic Prime just should have been its own thing. I think I think it existed well as like the Sonic Prime universe. I don't think it works well in canon. What do you all think about Sonic character fusions? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just that's fan fictiony. That like
yeah.
And it's also another thing taken from Dragon Ball too. So I don't find it very interesting. Not Nazo Unleashed. I remember watching that. That's like the pinnacle of where you could take Sonic fusions, and then it's just kind of cool for like one time. Then beyond that, it's just kind of whatever. It's kind of like more super forms, like how Sega just keeps refusing to bring back Hypersonic and Supersonic 2 because of power scaling. It's kind of like that. It just gets kind of uninteresting after a little bit and just unnecessary at points.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Like, I know there's so many comparisons drawn to Dragon Ball Z and Sonic because of like the emeralds are like the Dragon Balls, I think, and then the super forms. But I think the less that we have, the better. Sonic needs to just keep his own identity. The more that you do that's like Dragon Ball, just the more that comparison's going to come up and it's going to lessen Sonic as a brand and as a character. It's like TMNT, I think, perfectly encapsulates that because they are actually a parody of Daredevil, but not like unless you know that, you don't really think about it because they've really like as their own like found their identity. So I think that's kind of cool that TMNT was kind of able to escape that comparison, even though it did start as a joke, but people don't think TMNT Daredevil, but people do think Sonic Dragon Ball. So Sonic needs to keep finding his own identity and escape those comparisons, in my opinion.
Something I've always thought about, and it brings up now with like parodies and stuff like that. You ever think Lucasfilm ever thought about suing Sega for using like what is essentially the Death Star?
Dude, that was one of like when I was getting into Sonic, that was one of the things that like I thought of. I'm like, dude, how did they get away with this? That's literally just the Death Star.
Yeah, and it's not stated it's parody. It's I think it's supposed to be a parody, but
yeah,
or at least a reference to it. But it's literally the Death Star.
Yeah, I love it though. I love the Death Egg. It's like comedically like genius that it's just like Eggman's big face and it's a Death Star. I love it. The Death Egg is hilarious, but I also feel like Lucasfilm is so big that they just probably saw it and they just didn't give a crap. You know, they were like, it's Sonic.
Yeah.
They didn't feel threatened by it at all. So maybe now that Disney owns the rights, though, they might be a little harsher. Who knows? But dude, we need a game like where we're on the Death Egg in like a 3D Sonic game. Has he ever been on the Death Egg in a 3D Sonic game?
Yes, Sonic Forces.
Okay, but you're like rail grinding on the outside, right?
No. At the very end of that, I know what you're talking about. And at the very end of that stage, you do actually go inside the Death Egg, and that's where they actually get the rocket ship or whatever it is to go back to Earth.
Okay, yeah,
That's
you're
where
right.
him and the Avatar go.
I guess more so I want something where like you explore it a little further because
Yeah.
it seems like a really cool location. And the classic Sonic games, of course, you get to be inside of it and like fight Eggman and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like they could do a lot of cool things in the 3D environment and like really show like the inner machinations of what's going on in the Death Egg. And maybe you have to like blow it up somehow. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they need to do more like Star Wars, like kind of references like that. It's fun.
Yeah, if they ever bring back the Death Star and they keep the open zone format, they should just do like an open zone that's just the Death Star. And then if you blow it up sometime in the story, have a secondary version of it you can go back to where it's like all of the places you know just blown up, but they're new now. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Or even have us visit Scrapnik Island and like explore the ruins of the destroyed one.
True.
Yeah. So Straw Hat says it would be awesome to have a Sonic and TMNT crossover. Sonic hanging out with the turtles and Eggman putting Krang in his place.
Bro, you'll never believe this. No, I get what they mean though. That'd be really cool to see them interacting now.
Yeah. Are you excited for them in Crossworlds? Do you like the new like TM? I don't know if you saw the TMNT movie with these ones. It was pretty good. Not like the best Turtles movie, but it was fun.
The only thing besides the film's quality I've seen is the fact that Mr. Beast is in it. That's all I get out of that version of the Turtles.
Oh, yeah, he is one of those characters. Because like Post Malone is too. Yeah. Seth Rogen is. I'm almost kind of getting sick of like the Spider-Verse animation that like everyone's latched onto. Like not saying it's bad, but like it's just like everyone jumping on the trend now that like Spider-Verse was so successful. If you can kind of see that point, like it looks good. The movie still looks good, but it's just like there's a game that came out recently that was on Game Pass that I played called Mixtape, and it kind of like experimented with that like frame rate stuff. Yeah, and it was just like one, I just didn't like the game, but two, it was just like why everything's trying to be Spider-Verse now, man. And it's like I like Spider-Verse, but like let Spider-Verse be Spider-Verse, and I'm tired of everything trying to latch onto it.
I do see that. You know, I'm not even gonna get into Mixtape because that's another whole can of worms. But
it really is.
If Spider-Verse never came out, I think everything would just look the same as Disney nowadays, or Shrek, how DreamWorks did previously beforehand. Something that is worth noting is the fact that everyone just tries to be Spider-Verse. Like, no one tries to be Puss in Boots in The Last Wish. Like, that had its own style to it, too. Like, do the Spider-Verse thing, but, like, do different stuff with it. Like, how Puss in Boots was a painting. Spider-Verse was, like, a comic. Do a video game movie where it looks like a video game. Like, polygons, you know, the 60 frames. This would be impossible to animate, like, every single frame, but do, like, 60 frames per second. That could be cool. You know, they almost did that with Spider-Verse where they brought in the Insomniac Spider-Man for that little second or two. But that was really cool to see. You know, they should do stuff like that. Just make it your own thing. And I think TMNT kind of just did Spider-Verse. I don't think there was anything else, because technically it also comes from a comic book too. But they should have done something to differentiate it.
Yeah, Puss in Boots was great, by the way. You mentioning that, I that movie blew me away. I wasn't expecting greatness, and that movie delivered greatness. And it makes me so disappointed that the new Shrek movie kind of looks meh, because I know that they're capable of delivering greatness again. And the Puss in Boots movie actually got me excited for Shrek 5. And then Shrek 5 trailers have just like, they've lost all that good faith pretty fast.
Yeah.
Surya Dragon says the derpy eyes fit edgy perfectly. I don't know about that, man. Shadow's supposed to look cool. Zapbat says he means that you can actually play a digital version of Sonic Heroes on the PS 4 or 5 or whatever. So maybe look into that. Maybe you can actually play the PlayStation 2 version on your PlayStation.
You can actually. It's available on PS4 and PS5 in Australia to buy. But I don't
Just
want to use a
Australia?
VPN. Yeah, it is.
That's
Last I
weird.
checked, at least. Last I checked.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Eric Brown says, should Sega continue making Shadow games like Shadow's own storyline, sometimes connecting to the mainline games? I think that would be awesome. I really do. But it's like, how often are they going to be able to like do that? Because it's taking them so long to even get a mainline Sonic game out. But I would love to see that. I want to see forward momentum in Shadow's story. Like I said, no longer focused on the past. I want to see what he's up to now. Shadow needs some new motivation. We need a new like thing that not Black Doom, not Maria, that we've retreaded those things so many times that it's gotten a little stale. Give him something new to like focus on. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Tragedy says, I'm tired of Shadow games. We need a Silver game. We do need a Silver game too. We kind of talked about this like, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, that like they're sitting on all these characters and like there's so many different types of games that they could do and they're just not doing anything and they're like content with giving us Pico Park.
Dude, I'm never gonna shut up about Pico Park, bro. Like, why Pico Park of all things, bro? Like, we could have had so much. If you wanted to do the 2D platformer, you could have had so much better stuff. Like we were saying earlier, Sonic Mania 2. Like, we traded Pico Park for Mania 2. That's what I'm thinking.
Dude, I mean, just give us like, I know you said like there's issues probably with the OST, but like give us Sonic Rush. I would have rather had a 2D game like that where it's like you just port it to consoles somehow and I can play Sonic Rush. I would have much rather had that. Dude, watch us talk all this crap about Pico Park, and then like we do end up playing it, and we're like, this is the greatest like Sonic like spinoff ever. It will never happen, but Surya Dragon has a question for you. By the way, I think that's a new profile pic. It looks good, man. He says, Sanic Boy, what are your thoughts on Blaze?
She's cool. I think they do need to do more stuff with her. Blaze, like Shadow, Blaze is such like an easy character to just like place on top of Sonic because especially in Rush, their movesets are pretty similar. So you could just like, and I think they did this in 06 too, where her gameplay was still kind of similar to Sonic and Shadow. So I'm surprised they haven't done like a Blaze skin on top, like in Sonic Forces, how you had a Shadow skin on top of Sonic in the speed stages. They should be doing that with Blaze. That'd be cool too. Like anything with Blaze, we just need to see more.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would it be to get like a fully like 3D game and we're exploring the Soul Dimension, fighting like pirates, like make it a pirate themed game since that's kind of her thing on her world, and we get to see Marine, we get to see like how she balances being a princess in her dimension and also like just trying to go out and fight and stuff like that and like protect the Soul Emeralds. There's so much that you could do with her, so much to explore. And it feels like she's such an interesting character. And every time that she appears in the comics or something, I feel like they want to do stuff with her, but then they just don't. So I'm really excited, really looking forward to this new arc where her and Silver are actually going forth, doing something new. It seems like Blaze is going to have to confront Blackwood, I believe his name is. So I'm really hoping for a great mini arc there with Blaze. She's just a cool character, cool design, cool powers. Like you said, she's very close to Sonic in many ways. So I would love a game with her, honestly. Tragedy 910 says maybe Silver will be in the movies instead. I mean, I think that there's a high likelihood that he'll be in Sonic 4. What do you think, Sonic Boy?
I think Silver post-credit scene, if not near the end, is probably what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think I had a theory probably over a year ago now that Sonic 4 is going to be pretty close to Terminator in some ways, and there's going to be like a future resistance fighting against Eggman and Metal Sonic. Excuse me. And I really think that Silver will either be like kind of a future warrior, or like Sonic Boy said, we're going to see him in a post-credit scene. So I think it's a pretty strong likelihood, especially since we know that this is going to be like a time travel kind of movie that we'll see Silver. But they're definitely hiding him. I don't think we're going to see any leaks about him. Let's see. Straw. When you were freezing, he said, "No, don't go into the light, Sonic Boy." Deep thought strikes again. Should there be a crossover of Sonic and One Piece? I mean, I don't know. Maybe for like a merch collab or something.
Yeah, do the Hello Kitty thing where it's like you have the
Yeah.
Hello Kitty characters in Sonic costume. That could be cool. Or like the other way around, where you get Sonic characters in One Piece costumes. Could be cool.
Yeah. There you go. I think that's the perfect way to do it. Gavin Cuphead says, "What did I miss?" Whole lot. Whole lot. Strawhead says, "Pretty sure that this new character is both Starline and Infinite." If that comes out to be true, guys, you gotta spread my channel. You gotta spread my channel. I've been calling it for months now that it's them. If it's not, though, we'll just delete that video and act like I didn't say anything. Favorite show or movie? My favorite show of all time is Lost. Like I mentioned to Sonic Boy. Great writing. I highly recommend anyone that loves mysteries, exploring the human element, exploring elements of like faith and science, just mysteries, betrayal. That's like the perfect show. My favorite movies of all time, I'm just going to group them into one. Probably the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It used to be up in the air between that and like the original Star Wars trilogy, but with the recent movies, man, I have really fallen out of love with Star Wars. But yeah, that would be mine. What about you, Sonic Boy?
If I had to pick like a favorite show, I'm not going to say a Sonic one because I don't think any of them have reached the heights of other shows that I've seen.
Yeah.
Besides
What, you're
Sonic
telling
Boom's
me
comedy.
you said you
But-
loved the Knuckles show so much in our past live stream?
Dude, shut up! Don't even talk. I think my favorite show, if I had to go with one, I haven't seen like too many actual shows, but like House MD. I haven't quite finished it yet, but it's one of my. It's so funny. Like it tells a good story with interesting characters, but the main character, who's played by Hugh Laurie, does such a good job with his delivery. You can't even tell that he's doing an accent either. It's such a good show, and if I had to pick a movie, probably Remember the Titans.
Oh,
That
that's
one's
a good
always
one.
been my favorite movie ever.
So how far are you in House? Because that's like a long show, right? It doesn't it go like 18 seasons? House MD, hasn't that been going on for like a long time?
No, it ended like 14, 15 years ago or so. It
No
only has
way.
8
I
seasons.
swear House was going for a long time.
Are you thinking Grey's Anatomy?
Oh, dude, you know what? That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Because they're
Yeah, it
both
only
doctor
had 8
shows, right?
seasons. And I'm through season 6 right now. I'm halfway through that.
Okay. I might have to check that out. Is it like, do they show a lot of medical procedure stuff? Because that stuff makes me squirmish for some reason. I know it's fake, but I don't know why. Whenever there's like a doctor in the show, it's like, man.
There are a few moments where they kind of show some stuff, and it can get like, it can show you like really bad fake stuff, but it's never like often. A lot of the times when they go into surgeries, they'll just stray away from it, and oftentimes there's a lot of comedy to like bring the situation up to, which lands pretty much every single time. So that's a good thing, and they do switch it up a lot of the time too.
And you're a big football fan, right? Because I think you said you were an Eagles fan, perhaps? Was it, or was it?
I was almost about to crash out because you said that. No, I'm a Seattle Seahawks guy.
Seahawks. Okay. I couldn't remember, but I knew you liked football. And then you said Remember the Titans. So I'm like, okay, yeah, there you go. There's the hat, man.
Yeah.
I'm a Bills Steelers guy, so
Oh,
uh, but good stuff.
yeah.
Straw Hats recommends that you should watch Gotham. Highly recommend it.
I've heard a lot of good about Gotham, but I've just never been too interested in like the more CW or grounded DC shows. I've always wanted like what Marvel has with their movies or even their shows too. They're good shows. Like I wanted that for DC, but we've just never gotten it.
I watched season 1 of it and it was all right, but I never watched all of it. I know the guy that I don't know if you ever played these games, the Jedi Fallen Order games with the main character in it, Cal Kestis, is actually I think he played the Joker in the
Yeah.
Gotham show, so kind of cool. Tragedy 910 says the Devil May Cry anime is so good when you don't know the game lore. Yeah, my girlfriend and we started the first season. We really liked it. I'm trying to get into the Devil May Cry games, but man, I was not really enjoying the first game. And then I heard 2 is terrible, and we started the third, and the third seems to be pretty good so far, but we'll see. I want to get into that franchise. It's just a little tough. Straw Hat says, I love that show, The Mentalist. So there you go. Another Mentalist fan.
Yeah. It's a good show. I've only seen the first season or some of the first season so far. Great show.
I think Sonic Boy also really agrees with this.
Let's see. Same with the
The
Knuckle Show. It
Knuckles
has a
had a
good
good
plot,
plot.
but no more seasons. Shut up. No.
Yeah, man, there's some things I really like about the Knuckles show, but like going back to rewatch it was still a tough watch. I, there's like a level of like cringe humor that Knuckles show really leans into that doesn't vibe with me, I think.
Yeah. Dude, the Knuckle Show's. Yeah.
Story-wise, I think DC Supervillains is better, just my opinion though. Fair enough. It did have a really good story. I still like I said, it's my favorite Lego game. I've played all of them. I've played every Lego game, and that one was my favorite. I think it kind of gets slept on. A lot of people say like Lego Batman 2 is the best. Get out of here. Get out of here with Lego Batman 2, man. Just imagine if Eggman took complete control of the Technodome or Unicron. I don't know what either of those are. Do you know, Sonic Boy?
Yeah, don't ask me.
Technically, at the end of Sonic 3, the Death Egg got destroyed, and in the Mandalorian and Grogu, it got destroyed too. I didn't even know they went to the Death Star in Mandalorian and Grogu. That's wild. But yeah, in Sonic 3, the one that gets destroyed is the one that is on Scrapnik Island. That's why it's destroyed. Which is funny because they did kind of do that in the the Star Wars, what do you call them? Not prequel, sequel trilogy. They had like the ruins of the Death Star shown too, so that's kind of funny that those were. I don't know if it was like a coincidence or not, or if like Sonic leaned into taking inspiration once again from that. Straw Hat says Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was the GOAT animated film of the year. It was really good. It's crazy. Sonic Blitz came back. Now Sonic Blitz is dead to me. That game, I am not interested in that game anymore.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, Sonic Boy? I feel like we kind of ran our course today, almost 2.5 hours. I mean, we can talk more if you want, but it turned into.
I think we've said our spiel so far. I think the longest we've gone is about 3 hours for the Knuckles show. But even then, we had so much to talk about then still. But now we're just kind of, bringing up chat. So,
yeah, I mean, it turned into a pretty long conversation when I thought it might be the shortest episode yet. So that was nice. We kind of like briefly touched on things that maybe we should go into like more depth in another week, like our thoughts on Sonic Adventure 2, thoughts on Sonic Forces, because I think that's where we were generating some real good conversation there, finding some similarities there. I want to have Vice Hella on in like 4 weeks or so, so we can talk about some IDW lore, because that's when 4 or 5 weeks is when the comics come back, and we'll see a little bit more of what's going on with Blaze and all of them. So perhaps we'll have some guests on, perhaps not. But as Gavin Cuphead says, bye. See you next week. Thank you all for spending time with us. It's been a great Saturday so far. I hope you guys enjoy talking with us. I really had a good time this week. Sanic Boy, thank you for joining me as always. Guys, if you haven't already, and I hope you have, make sure to go subscribe to Sanic Boy. He has new videos out. He has videos out on Sanic Boy 2. So go check those out. Give his videos a like. Give his videos or his channel a subscribe. Always putting out great stuff. Awesome guest, honestly. I couldn't do this show without Sanic Boy. So, I want to give credit where credit is due. We did talk, dude. We did, believe it or not, we did talk about who the classic strongest character was. It was like we talked about it for like 2 minutes, but it was not very long.
I was gonna say, I think we got like a solid 2 minutes off of that.
Yeah, it was not a very long discussion, but I need to change the thumbnail and title or something when this stream gets like fully uploaded. But yeah, it was a great video, great chat. Thanks for hanging with us, and I hope you all have a great Saturday. Unless plans change, we will see you guys next week. Peace.
See you guys.